I don't know if I should wait until I have people actually in my live, to talk to me and whatnot while I'm live streaming. But I kind of want to just go ahead and talk, and because these videos usually get saved, and after they save, they can be rewatched later. I want to talk about this election. Holy crap! I was terrified. I'll start off with that. I was terrified because I'm currently on disability. Not something I'm proud of, not something I like that's happening. I feel like a sponge on society. I'm slowly working my way into being self-sufficient and everything. I'm slowly doing that. I have, I'm driving really good now and everything. And apparently there's a watcher now. Somebody's watching. Hello, person watching. Hello, person watching. It says one watching. I wonder if they're counting me. I wonder if they say I'm the one watching. It says one person watching. Maybe they mean I'm that person. Maybe that's what it is. Participants. No, it's just me. Maybe I guess it's just me watching. Anyhow, I'll go ahead and keep talking here. So this election was crazy. As I've stated in videos before, which I don't know who's watched, who's seen them. I only feel like the Democrats are objectionably better. I don't think they're much better. I don't. Republicans they've gotten worse than they used to be. They've lost their GD minds. They've lost their damn minds. We had Mitch McConnell, Turtleface McGee, sitting on, I can't remember what channel it was, what he was on. I'm trying to remember. Bloomberg? I think it was Bloomberg he was on. I'm not sure. And him and other Republicans keep saying that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme. Ponzi, Ponzi, Ponzi. And he called them entitlements. And they're not entitlements. They're not a Ponzi scheme. They're nothing like that. And they had planned to eliminate it. They planned to get rid of it, gut it, destroy it. They've already taken a bunch of money from the... See, and what I hate is the house and everything constantly flip-flops. And that's driving me up the damn wall. I'm tired of that. I'm really, really, really tired of that. I'm tired of the house flipping constantly because this last time we had a full-on Republican GOP government, full-on. And they were doing everything they could to do terrible, terrible things. I voted in a way that I thought I was voting for good people. I wasn't voting specifically Republican or Democrat. When I went into the booth, went into the little machine, I wish I had a sticker for it to show for it. I sadly do not. But if they had given me a sticker, I'd be showing it. But they didn't want to give me a sticker. And I think it was just the place I went to vote. Some places just don't bother with a sticker. So I walked in there at the fire department, which is where they were having it. And I did the electronic thing. I did not do a straight ticket. Number one, I didn't feel like everybody that was running under Democrat were inherently good. I didn't think they were inherently going to do the right things. I just kind of looked at their policies and whatnot. So for some people, I was voting Democrat. For some people, I was voting Republican. For Senate, I was not voting Ted Cruz. I was not going to vote for that SOB. And I didn't vote for that SOB. Instead, I voted for Beto O'Rourke. I don't agree with all his policies, but I could tell his heart was in the right place. I don't feel that way with Ted Cruz. I've seen his actions. I've seen things he's lied about and whatnot. I've noticed situations where he's lied. And it just made me go, I don't want this guy. I don't feel like Ted Cruz was looking out for Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz doesn't give a shit about his constituents. He cares about himself. He cares about furthering his career. Lion Ted, he's not even actually a Texan. Like everybody in this state keeps pissing and moaning about the people from California moving here.
don't want them damn liberal some bitches in my. I don't want them in my state. I don't even want them in my country.
Oh my God. So, but they fail to realize that Ted Cruz himself, he's not a Texan. I mean, he's a Texan because he lives here, but he's not a Texan. He is not even like a second generation Texan. He's like first generation Texan, I guess you'd say. Actually, I think he moved here and then ran. I don't even think because he was born in Canada, and then somehow moved here, and then somehow became, in the position that he's in. So people keep pissing and moaning about, oh, them, Californians moving here and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, Beto O'Rourke is fourth generation Texan. His family's been here a long time. He might even be more than fourth generation. He might be longer than that. That's Ted Cruz can't even say that. So I was more willing to vote for him. Like I said, I didn't agree with everything that Beto O'Rourke stood for. Not everything. But I can tell when somebody's heart's in the right place and when they genuinely want to do the right thing for constituents. I didn't feel that way about Ted Cruz. I never have. I never will. And I'm sad that he's not, that Beto didn't win the seat. But this leads on to what I am happy about. The elections aren't quite over with yet. There's still some elections going. But the Democratic Party has overwhelmingly taken back the House. Like I said, they are objectionably better, but not much better. My problem as the Speaker of the House is going to be, well, it looks like it's going to be Nancy Pelosi. I don't want Nancy Pelosi. In fact, I would love for her to take a freaking hike. Nancy Pelosi, if you're watching this, take a hike. Go away. There's other people who I feel are better suited to be House Speaker and everything, and to help lead the Democratic Party. Let me say that I used to vote Republican. I used to believe in the Republicans. I used to believe in the jargon and everything. But like I said, that was until I started seeing them considerably over time losing their freaking minds. They were losing their minds. I feel like they've lost their minds. I don't want to vote for them anymore. Their hearts aren't in the right place anymore. They want to take away things that people rely on. I know people here who were voting against their best interests. They were voting Republican straight ticket. And I'm sitting back going, you do realize, I didn't say this to them, and I go, you do realize because these are people that I know are old, they're elderly, and they're on Social Security. I go, you do realize, don't you, that you're voting for a group of folks who are going to take this is what I wanted to say. They're going to take your Social Security. They're going to cause you to just be on the freaking street. Who's going to take care of you? Who's going to pay your bills? Who's going to help you? Your families, are they going to work harder to make more money to take care of you? Are you going to become a hindrance on them? Right now you have independence because of this. You have the ability to take care of yourself and to do right. You have that what my mom, self-sufficiency. You can take care of yourself because of this stuff. Okay, so what then? That's what it boggles my mind why so many people vote against their best interests. I don't understand this. I don't understand this at all. All right, I don't understand this bollocks, just bollocks that keeps being spread. That's that Bernie Sanders, is he's a communist and they want to give people free shit. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? He's not wanting to give people free shit. He wants to. A good portion of people who have run for Congress that people who are Democrat or more social Democrat. There's Democrat and social Democrat. They are calling for Medicare for all, and I don't think people realize what Medicare is. Stop calling. I just wish they'd be more accurate and stop calling it free health care. But it's not a socialist agenda. It's not any of those things, because there are countries where the people are actually, you would call them Republican, and they control it, and they don't feel like their healthcare system is free shit or socialism. They don't feel that. The words that come from their mouth is decency. It's decent. It's just being decent. Social Security is a decent thing. Medicare for all is a decent thing. Stop associating it with socialism. It's not. It's just decency. All right? And that's what I'm tired of. And I'm tired of every time somebody comes up with an idea to help people. Do you know one of the reasons that our country is struggling and dealing with issues right now? And the reason that we have so many problems right now is because we don't charge tax. We don't tax the rich as we should. And in fact, they're getting taxed even less than they used to. All right? And I'm seeing more people coming in watching. That's fine. I'm already talking. I'm not going to back up and go back to what I'm talking about. Usually in a live stream, for those of you who are joining me, usually in a live stream, you can actually go back and watch what's been said thus far. At least I think you can. But I'm not going to sit here and go back. I'm basically just discussing right now the elections. If you're not into politics, you might want to tune out. I'm just letting you know, folks. If the 3 people watching, if you're not into politics, you might want to change. You want to find somebody else to watch. But I'm pretty relieved that the Democrats took back the House, because this means that there's a check on Trump now, and they can't do the hideous things that they said they were going to do. Mitch McConnell, that turtle-faced guy, he was saying that they were going to take away Social Security, called it a Ponzi scheme. Bullcrap. It's something that people rely on. They rely on it. Okay, and I'm so boggled by people's voting habits. And the people that make their voting a family tradition. I'm so sick of that. I hate when people do that. It's like voting isn't a family tradition, and that's something that irritates me on both sides. The whole straight ticket thing. I'm just like, I didn't do a straight ticket, by the way. I voted for some people who were Republican and some who were Democrat, and I voted for. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of backtracking here, but there's like 3 people watching me now. Versus the none who are watching me, so I kind of want to just kind of touch on what I've said so far in this live stream. I think things are better now. I'm not as stressed and as worried about, and it wasn't just for me. I was worried about my aunts and uncles that are on Social Security, that they've gotten old, they can't work anymore, and if Mitch McConnell had removed Social Security, if he gotten his way, if we still had a majority Republican controlled everything, they were going to eliminate Social Security. They were going to eliminate anything that helps people. They basically have huge issues with poor people, and they're sitting back going, well, we just gave these tax things to the wealthy. They just gave huge tax breaks to the wealthy twice. And everybody's like, well, they gave us tax breaks too. They gave you temporary tax breaks. Okay, only the select few 1%, the Mitch McConnell, the Walton family, those people, they got a permanent tax cut. All right, and it's causing issues for government to run. You need money, you need taxes. People don't want to be taxed. That's all. That's another thing I've noticed. There's a lot of greedy people. They're like, that's my money, that's my money. But they don't seem to realize that it's a necessary thing. You have to pay your taxes. That's just how it is. Taxes are necessary things. I think the biggest problem is where the tax money goes is what concerns people the most, and I don't blame them there. That's a huge concern. It's even a concern to people who are all for being taxed. It's still a concern. It's like, where's this money going? So Mitch McConnell and them were going to just take away all this stuff because they were blaming it for the issues with government spending and everything. But it was their fault. They raked up the spending themselves. It was something that they did, all right, by giving these permanent tax breaks to the rich, twice over, by the way. So, which I've already said, but I'm getting all cabrubbled. Is that a word? Cabrubbled? I don't know. So now that we have a Democratic majority in the White House, they're going to protect this. Are they going to be able to fix the things with the taxation? I'm sorry, but the rich need to be taxed. That's why this country's struggling right now. When you're not taxing the ultra-rich, the billionaire class, when you're not taxing them, that's money that we don't have to help with infrastructure, to help with a lot of things. Taxing is a necessary thing. It's always going to be necessary. But I'm relieved on the one hand that I don't have to worry about like my loved ones and everything losing their Social Security. But on the other hand, this is still an issue that has to be fixed, and the Republicans are not going to be willing to sign anything. And I think the Senate has. I can't remember who has the decision making. I don't know. I can't be sure about a lot of the decision making when it comes to laws and policy and whatnot. So and regulation. So I don't know. But we do need regulation. We do need. It's a necessary thing. But Republicans lie and they tell you that the reason that there's so much bad stuff going on is because of all the rules, the laws, the regulation. They blame the regulation, the big bad boogeyman regulation. They blame that, and people fall for it, and it's so sad. It is so sad, and it just people here in the South are so gullible and don't. That's another problem. We can't do this. It can't be done, but I sort of wish that we made it mandatory for people to do research on people before they vote. Like, literally study up on who they're voting for first. Know everything first. And I feel like if they had to study up first before voting, they would vote more carefully instead of just voting based on party politics. And that's something that's driving me. That's another thing driving me nuts is party politics. It's like, my daddy and his daddy, my family's always voted Republican. So, and like I said, my voting was for different people of different backgrounds when I voted. I don't vote straight tickets because I don't vote based on party. Okay, I vote based on who I think is going to be good for the job, and I really do wish more people would do that. So I see I have 3 people watching me, participants, and it doesn't tell me who the participants are. Why the hell does it do that? Why does it says 3 people watching me, and I don't get a list of names or anything unless they're just watching and they're not able to comment or anything. That might be it. It might be watching without the ability to comment because they're just watching. They don't have like an actual account, so they can't comment. So that's probably why they're just watching me. So now I think I've gotten politics out of the way. I've talked about what I want to talk about as far as politics go, and I know people don't like really talking about politics. Okay. I'll try to make it entertaining, though, and I know a lot of people don't like the Democrats. A lot of people don't like Republicans, back and forth. But I know which party stands for what, and it's a lot of dangerous stuff. And I know that the Republicans had planned to do a lot of things to ruin people's lives. So, I mean, one of the problems is nothing will get done now, they say. That's one of the things I hear is nothing's going to get done now. Because they're not going to agree on anything. We'll see how that goes. I'm just more optimistic right now. So, yeah. Alright, so I've gotten all the politic talk out of the way, and I wish some people would join who could actually talk to me. I don't know what to move on to now. Should I keep just kind of yammering, or should I maybe do some art? Maybe. Oh, that's not it. That's not right. Why are you there? Why? That's not the window that you need to be. Why are you that window? Why are you that window? That's not what you're supposed to do. Ooh. Okay, that's not it. That's not what I want. What the hell? Cancel. Okay, so maybe that was the problem. There we go. Why is that like that? Get over here so people can see what I'm doing. I was working on some music, some remasters, remix, whatever you want to call them. I was working on them. So I thought maybe I could keep working on them. I could do that. Let me check my audio devices really quick because I know. Yeah, no, I need. Yeah, no, that's. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that should be good. So yeah, I'm working on I'm redoing the music from Duke Nukem. I've done the theme, but right now I'm working on like that first level you drop into. I'm just trying to give it a different sound because why not? I always try to make music sound better. Anyhow, so I think I'm pretty good at this. I don't think I did the brass section very good, did I? I don't really think I did the brass section very good. Like when it got to that one part that bop ba da bop 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 ba bum ba dum bum bum. I don't think I did that very well. Trying to get back to that brass section part. That's better. I've got it how I want it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty good at this stuff. All right. Now I also have like I said, I've got the grab ag. All right. Hope it's not too loud. I think that sounds awesome. I don't know about y'all. Of course, nobody was talking, and oh, there we go. Oh, sorry, Kevtris. Holy crap! I had the wrong thing clicked over. I didn't see who was talking. Kevtris? Kevtris. Where have I heard the name Kevtris before? Kevtris. Where have I heard that before? You still there, Kevtris? I'm sorry, I wasn't ignoring. Holy crap. I had this stupid thing on the chat on... Never mind, it was on something stupid. Kevtris. Where have I heard Kevtris before? Kevtris. It sounds like the guy who's working on the FPGAs for those retro modern consoles. Ah, there you go. Yeah. Holy crap. I really wish I could afford those. I really do. They're pretty cool. Yeah, I still have Winamp. Yeah, I still use... Well, I use Winamp because sometimes I'll listen to old game music, and I don't know any other software that lets me use plugins to listen to, you know, actual game files. Like, God, what are they called? There's these file names like VGM, I think it's Sega Genesis, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm trying to remember what the file format is for the music for Super Nintendo or whatever that you can listen to. But yeah, I use Winamp when I go to listen. I also use it for MIDIs. Yeah, I use it for MIDIs too. So yeah, because I use it for... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just like those exotic plugins for all that kind of stuff. It's cool. It's cool to listen to, especially if I'm sitting here just doing pixel art or something. I like to sit and listen to it. So, yeah. Yeah. Sorry if you came in when I was drolling on about political landscape and the elections. VLC. I didn't know VLC had one, but you're right. You are right that the NSF player for it is really good. And I think that's what I'm using. I think that's what I have. Or no, I have SNSF, because I listen to mostly Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis music. Yeah. But I didn't realize that. I didn't really realize that. And the only time I've ever used VLC is when I'm on Linux. When I'm running Linux. Right now I'm in Windows, so I don't use it. Yeah, VGM. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like sometimes I'll just sit here and just start listening to. I was listening to some Toe Jam and Earl earlier today, just to listen to it because like the music is just that awesome from back then. So it's just like fun. It's fun to just listen to it. You know, you don't even have to be playing the game to enjoy the music. I don't feel that way about most modern games. Like I don't really, I can't remember a soundtrack that I wanted on modern, in modern games to just listen to. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. I didn't know. I'm not super big on 8-bit music. Mm, I've never been a huge fan of 8-bit music or chip tunes. Sorry, chip tunes. Not a real big fan of chip tunes. I mean, I don't hate them. I just I the 8-bit era for me it was okay, but my love of games didn't flourish until the 16-bit era, and I really miss the 16-bit era. 16-bit and 32-bit, yeah. I liked 2D games, pixel art, yeah. So, yeah, awkward. Ugh. I guess I wouldn't say I hate it. Like, there's some soundtracks on the NES that come off really, really well, that sound really, really good, especially the very inventive stuff that they did with the Famicom. The Famicom had like very different for some games had very different music because of like extra sound they got out of it or something. And and I know you know about it. I don't know why I'm explaining it to you because I know you know about it. Pretty sure you're familiar with that. Yeah, I don't hate the Genesis sound chip. I don't hate it, but I do prefer what the Super Nintendo was able to do. I did prefer that. Uh, but that said, there was some really good music on the Genesis. So, yeah. I still listen to a lot of stuff from the Genesis. The Genesis? I think when it comes to the Genesis sound chip, I think it just mattered how well someone was able to use it. Because I do remember some games that had some terrible music, very grinding on the ears type music, because the developer just really didn't know what they were doing with the sound chip. That or they knew exactly what they were doing, they thought it sounded good. But I never really thought of Genesis or SNES music as being chiptune. I've never thought of that as chiptune for some reason. I've always, maybe the Genesis, but I've always looked at like anything from the 16-bit era. I always looked at it being more like, I don't know, maybe more like a MIDI or something. For me, chip tunes was the really bleepy bloopy stuff, like from the NES and the Master System. I've never really thought of anything else as chip tune. Well, I'm trying to remember specifically what games it was that I played where I don't know what they were going for, but it just sounded pretty bad. It sounded like they were trying to do a guitar maybe or something else, or an electric guitar or something, but it didn't it didn't It just, I have no better way of describing it than it was like it's grinding on the ears. Right. Okay. All right. That's what I thought. I was gonna say the Super Nintendo though is I want to say Super Nintendo is closer to MIDI and MIDI samples. This the If I'm not mistaken, the Super Nintendo, like, the games literally had samples of sounds in there that got used in different ways. Like, it was basically like sheet music. It was similar to MIDI's. Similar, not exactly the same, but yeah. But I really love the Super Nintendo. I really love listening to a lot of music on the Super Nintendo. Some people were able to really pull. Some developers were really. FM music is like nuclear power. It's hard to do right and easy to do poorly. Huh. Okay. But yeah, I think I liked. I do. I didn't even care for the Atari era. Like, I played Atari as a kid, but I was like, it didn't hold my interest. So I will give the NES credit for holding my interest and being way more fun for me, because I remember playing on Atari 2600 and just being bored. Okay, yeah, the Yamaha. Yeah, the Yamaha chip. I actually have a thing, what is it called? It lets you make, I can't even, a VST. I have a VST for Sega Genesis called the YM2 something. My biggest problem is I can't compose. I probably could if I could ever get me a MIDI keyboard. I'm going to get me a MIDI keyboard one of these days. That way I can actually make music. I suck trying to make music any other way. And most of the music I sit here and mess around with is usually just MIDIs that I find, and I use a little software called SynthFont, and I just kind of try to make it sound better or different. And the Sega Master System in Japan had like an FM, didn't it? Didn't it have like an FM chip or something? If I'm not mistaken. Because I know I have a few games that I played, and when I play them on an emulator, if the emulator supports it, it sounds really, really good. Yeah, I played Pong when I was younger, when I was really young. I played Pong and Atari, and it was just so, those early systems. Yeah, I liked that. That was awesome. I wish it had. I think they were cheap. I could be wrong, but I think they were cheaping out. They cheaped out when they brought the Master System to the West. I believe they started cheaping out or something. I don't even think Sega themselves were the ones that brought the Master System to the U.S. I think they had Tonka do it or something. It really was. I always think to myself that if the SNES had a better CPU than it had, it would have been amazing if it had a better CPU than it has. Or had. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It just it makes you want to think about what could have been had things played out differently. I have an interesting question for you, if you don't mind answering it. Yeah, I don't believe it. Okay, so it's a crazy question. I don't own those systems you worked on with the FPGAs. I don't own them. Maybe one day I'll be able to own them. but I was kind of curious about something. Okay, so I have a Raspberry Pi, you know, and it has RetroPie on it. And one of the features that the emulators have is this overclocking feature and this ability to remove ripping and tearing. And with the right settings turned on, I can make, I think it was Gradius. I could be wrong. I can't remember what game it was. But I know that it was very laggy. But with those settings turned on in the emulator, it wouldn't be laggy at all. It would be very smooth and fluid. I was just kind of curious if you incorporated anything like that in your in the Super NT Mini. Okay. Well, like I said, when I'm using emulation on that thing, like there's options that make it run way better. And I was just curious if you included anything like that. Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, yeah. That makes a lot of sense, actually. That does make a lot of sense because it's not like, yeah, yeah, because it's not like anything where it like takes the ROM or anything. It's not doing that. It's literally playing it like the old systems would. It's literally just playing it off the cartridge. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, kind of sucks, but yeah, it makes sense. Don't want to screw up the cartridges. That would suck. That's a good feature, actually. Yeah. Doesn't that like what I'm trying to remember? Does that help with the ripping and tearing? What else does that do? I can't remember if it was just the ripping and tearing or if it did anything for slowdown. I don't think it does anything for slowdown. I think it's just the ripping and tearing. Ah, okay, yeah. Well, I know some games when there were too many sprites on screen, you'd start seeing the I don't know what else to call it except for ripping and tearing, but it's like that thing where you start seeing the lines go through characters and whatnot, or sprites will start blinking and flickering, things like that. I figured that's what that was for. Oh, it still does that. Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah. Did you do anything like that for the awesome? That's awesome. Did you do that with the with the I can't remember what it's called. That's kind of sad. The we'll just say the FPGA Sega console. We'll just say that because I can't remember the name. Oh, okay. That's awesome. Okay. I like it. It looks cool. Did you have any sort of input into the actual like the case or the shell or anything like that, or was it just work on the circuitry and whatnot and the more technical aspects? Oh, that's sweet. I hope you don't mind me asking this stuff. I'm just very curious. What was your thought with the final like case and everything, the design and everything? What was your thought? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Actually, part of it is my internet. Actually, no. Rate limiting your replies. Actually, I think that's a setting. Uh, that's weird. I don't see an option for that. That's weird. I see enable live chat. There's like an enable slow mode, which I don't want to do that, and automatically block spam messages. Yeah, it is. I kind of, for the sake of nostalgia, I kind of wish they had stuck like the name of the device, like right more in the center. I wish I could do something about that. I don't see an option for that. That really bites because I don't see an option for that. There's just enable live chat, automatically block spam messages, and that's it. I don't even have it on slow mode, so that sucks. I wish I could fix that, but there's literally no option for that. What is this? No, yeah. There's like no option. Yeah, it's pretty annoying. But yeah, no, I wish they had taken the name of the thing, the Mega SG, and just kind of went nostalgic and just kind of stuck it in big noticeable word, like just below the cartridge slot. Would have been awesome. Oh, yeah, I can't even remember what I said. I think it was like I think it was like oh Lord. Uh I've got a lot of questions. I don't want to bombard you with them. Okay. Um is it possible to have an all-in-one FPGA console? Like or would that require multiple FPGAs? Like if you wanted something that played Super Nintendo's, Sega Genesis, or Sega and Nintendo consoles, if you wanted a single device that did that, would that require multiple FPGAs? Oh, okay. Huh. I have an even more interesting question. Oh, do you think there will ever be a console that's FPGA that plays like Nintendo consoles and Sega consoles, and or even Turbo Graphics, or will it just be the one system, you know, one console, one thing that's been happening? If it's something you can't answer, that's understandable. That's awesome. That's awesome. Zimba 3000. That sounds cool. That sounds real cool. I think something that I would like to see happen, but I know it probably never will happen, and there's probably no reason for it to happen. But I would love to see like a modern new console, but in which you make games for it like you would in the old days with oh god, what is that what I'm trying to remember what it's called. Oh god, the way they made games for the NES and whatnot. Uh, there's a name for that programming, and it slips my mind right now. Uh, but I would love to see like a new console that has like widescreen support. For. Oh, okay. See, I didn't know much about that. I didn't know because he's very vague about it. He doesn't talk about what it is they're doing exactly, and how the games were made for are going to be made for it. He didn't really talk about that. Uh, but yeah, you're talking about uh, the Amico, the Amico. I wasn't sure if that's exactly what they were making. It's not quite clear. It's not quite clear. That's true, but I think what he's trying to do here is make something affordable. Like it doesn't sound like it's going to cost a lot. So it sounds like he's trying to make something new and affordable that they can make. Yeah, I was what I was going to say though is, oh, assembly. That was the word I was looking for earlier. You know, to if it's I don't even know if it's possible to make new widescreen games in assembly. I always wonder about that. I wonder weird things like that. Yeah, I don't know how well it's going to work out for that thing, for the Amico. I like the idea of the Amico, but it's just the market. Like you said, the market. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think part of his problem is the messaging. When he says no ports, I think he means direct ports, like directly to the device. Okay. Well, the reason I mention that is because I'm working early. I'm doing early work on a game, and one of the things that annoys me with the software that's out there is there's no way to, I hate to use the term, assemble the graphics the same way you would in a classic game. None that I've found. Like I have game makers. Yeah, I was just saying, like, like I said, I'm working on early work for a game that I want to make, and I'm doing a lot of the graphics, and I've messed around with a lot of software that lets you make 2D games. And one of the things that I've noticed is that there's no way to assemble the graphics like you would in older games. There's no way, like if you open up a Super Nintendo game or an NES game or something, you look at the graphics files, they're like 8 by 8 and they're all over the place. They're 8 by 8 tiles. They're not actually 16 by 16 tiles. They're actually 8 by 8 tiles. And when you go to actually use them in the game, you then assemble the 8 by 8s into 16 by 16s. But at their base, they're 8 by 8. Yeah, that's true. You can edit at an 8 by 8. You can edit at an 8 by 8. But like as far as software goes that lets you make a game, like yeah. I'm using I'm using Ace. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. I'm using two software. I'm using Aceprite or however you pronounce that, and I'm also using Photoshop in conjunction to make graphics. But like if you go to make a game, it it doesn't look like there's a way to like make the graphics 8 by 8 and then assemble the 16 bits or 16 by 16 tiles to draw with, which is basically what they did with the older games. And I don't see any way to do that in these modern engines. So you end up with really huge sheets of tiles, like you, because you literally have to just make them 16 by 16, and it's crazy. Yeah, I do that with Photoshop. Yeah, no, I can make the games 8 by 8, but the software itself, when it comes to the software, I haven't found any game development software that lets you take 8 by 8s and reassemble them into individual 16 by 16 tiles. I haven't found any software that lets you rearrange them that way when you make a game. I mean, there's plenty of software that lets you literally draw them with their 8 by 8s with the intended purpose. But like when you look, like I can look at Super Mario World's graphics at their base and see that they're 8 by 8s, and that the game itself, when they were programming it, they took the 8 by 8s and created all their 16 by 16s. And that's part of the reason why those games were so small, is because of how they squeezed so much space. Yeah, you're literally stuck. You have to make everything 16 by 16 and use them 16 by 16. So any variation of a tile that you need, you can't just replace one 8 by 8. There's no way to do it. So like if I had a corner that reuses a little piece of a wall or something that comes and meets, there's no way to only replace that 8 by 8 tile and just reassemble it differently. There's no way to do it like that in modern game development software. There's no way to do that. Yeah, you're drawing with 16 by 16, but those 16 by 16 tiles are assembled from 8 by 8 tiles. Right. But the modern engines don't let you do that kind of stuff. There's nothing in the modern engines that let you, conserve data, conserve space by reassembling everything into those blocks the way you want. So when you go to, I could actually just show you. I don't know why I'm sitting here trying to explain my ass off. It's real easy to show you what I'm talking about. I don't know what I was thinking. God, what did I call it? Here we go. There we go. There, you can see it now. See what I'm talking about now. I had to do them all in 16 by 16, as you can see. But in reality, I should have been able to, I should have been oh Lord, grid settings. There we go. So you see the 8x8s. Oh, okay. Yeah. But the software that you have nowadays, they don't let you do any of that. So, I have these tiles that I made. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but modern engines, see how I drew these? They're actually in a row of 16 by 16. I literally had to draw them in 16 by 16. Each tile is a 16 by 16. And then I had to make my own row for this right here, when really, using the actual engine, there should have been an option for me to only have to reassemble this row here and this row here into its own thing. This is the sheet. Any variation that I need, I have to have an entire 16 by 16 tile. I can't just reassemble them. In modern engines. It's just modern engines don't have this option, which is, I find, baffling. If it was up to me, yeah, so I have to use a full 16 by 16. I can't just reduce this down to a bunch of 8 by 8 tiles. Because if it was up to me, it wouldn't be like this. I'll show you what it would be like real quick. It doesn't take much to show this. Because if it was up to me, it would be it would only be like this. It would be no, it's not, but I have this weird thing when I'm making anything to try and keep, I have this weird thing about wanting to keep everything as keep everything as small as possible. And if it was up to me, it would have been more like that. It would have been something much smaller. It's wasteful, exactly. I have no better word to use than conservative. I'm very conservative about space and data and whatnot, and it just kind of irritates me. Exactly. It's efficiency. So it kind of irritates me that for every type of tile that I'm going to need, I have to make it in 16 by 16. I've got no choice. They all have to be 16 by 16. Any variation has to be 16 by 16. It's pretty annoying. And it makes the games a lot bigger than they have to be. Or that they should have to be. By the way, I drew all this, by the way. I'm really good at pixel art. It's kind of sad, but yeah, I'm really good at pixel art. Working on this character for my game. Yeah. Yeah. They were very conservative, and I like that. I like how they were about stuff back then, and I want to make things exactly how they did, which is sad. Well, maybe not exactly, but as far as graphics and everything go like that, I would really like to. So, yeah, but I am very conservative. Any game that I make, I would like to keep it as small as possible. Now, one thing I have learned about modern engines like Game Maker Studio is that there is an option, however, to change colors of a sprite. You can literally grab an individual color in a tile that you've made, 16 by 16 or whatever. You can literally grab that one color, or not grab it, but like tell that one color to be a different color. So if you program it just right, you can reuse tiles with a completely different color to give it a completely different look. So they do have that. They have that. I'm not a programmer. That's the thing. I'm not a programmer. I'm just an artist. That's it. I'm an artist. But I know it's possible. I know there's tools. There's even a tool right now called NES Maker. People can make NES games with. So that's pretty amazing. I'm waiting for somebody to create a SNES Maker and a Genesis Maker. I'm waiting for that. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's like when he created it and everything and it came out, I was like, okay, this is cool, but I'm not really big on 8-bit. I would much rather have a larger palette to work with and everything, more detail and whatnot. So I'll wait for somebody to make a SNES Maker or something. That would be cool. Or a Genesis Maker. That'd be cool too. Actually, there's some Super Nintendo development. It's not a lot. You're right. There's not a lot, but there is some. There's Collector Vision is working on a game called God, what is that game called? Justice Beaver. They're making a game called Justice Beaver for the Super Nintendo. Oh, wow, really? That sucks. Oh, wow. I didn't know. I found out about it after that it had already been in development for a while, so yeah. I have a question, and you probably can't answer it. And it has to do with the Mega SG. Oh wow, yeah. I I knew about it, but I didn't care about it because I don't care for the or I don't care for the ColecoVision. I didn't care about Atari 2600, ColecoVision, and television. I didn't care about that old stuff, and I don't think a lot of people cared about it. If somebody were to come out with something, with more capabilities, for something like that, I think it would, well, yeah, does better. But I just don't think there's a huge demand for that era, for consoles from early 80s and late 70s. I don't think there's a lot of demand for that. Mm. When it comes to that kind of stuff, you're talking to the wrong guy, because I don't care about old games looking sharp. Because I've still got a CRT sitting here. I much prefer how old games looked on CRTs. To me, they just look better on CRTs. I don't like the sharp. I don't like the sharp. I don't know how to say this. The sharp, noticeable squares, noticeable pixels. I'm not real huge on it. And if I can find a way to when I go to actually make a game, if I can find a way to add filters to my game when I make it, I'm going to add filters, because I've never been a huge fan of all the noticeable squares. I love CRTs. If anything happens to my CRT, I'm going to be flipping out looking for a new CRT. Well, here's why I prefer CRTs. And it actually has to do with the Sega Genesis. Here's why I prefer this. And actually, I think I talked about this in my video. The one you saw, I was just kind of like, I was wondering if they were going to... That's a question I have for you. It's all coming back to my mind now. I just realized it. It just came back into my head. Is there anything in there in the Mega SG that you can turn on for dithering? Or I keep calling it dithering, but it's that effect that CRTs and the Genesis had, where individual pixels would kind of go together and make effects and stuff, because that's how the Genesis pulled off, transparencies or translucency and whatever, and that's why the waterfall in like Sonic 1 would be kind of more see-through and not lines. And that's one of the things I kept being curious about, is if there was anything included with the Mega SG in the options. Chroma aliasing. Yeah. That's partly why I prefer my CRT, is the chroma aliasing. That's partly why I do, because I just liked how the Genesis looked with that. Yeah, I seen that, because a lot of people already kind of like did videos on that and whatnot. But yeah, it's a really cool effect that the Genesis did. It was part of the hardware's design, because it worked with CRTs. That's partly why I prefer CRTs, because these old games were... I think I'm using RCA jacks on my, so I don't know what that is. I don't, RGB, yeah, I think it's RGB. But I get that effect, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, you know what I'm talking about, though, when I say the Genesis was literally built to take advantage of a CRT and everything. It was built because it didn't have the same kind of graphics chip as, well, the Super Nintendo. So to make up for fewer colors, it kind of had that effect. And it was either be used for transparencies or you know, to see through things to make it like that, or it was used to make it look like there's more colors than there really is in some situations. And that's partly why I don't like modern televisions and the... Yeah, right, right. And that's why when I look at Genesis games and they're really sharp and you don't have any features on it, it's just straight up pixel, you know, the way you like it to where it's sharp that'll cut you. That's why I don't like it on the Genesis. It's okay on the Super Nintendo, but I don't like it on the Genesis because it kind of eliminates all the effects that they, you know, the games were built around it, you know. They were built around the poor color depth. One other question. Oh, okay. It's probably been asked, and you probably heard all about it. Was it, I don't know how to say it, was it impossible to include support for 32X? Was that just something that was impossible? Okay. All right. Well, that tells me that. Yeah. So it was too much for the FPGA. Ah, okay. 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 I gotcha. I gotcha. I don't even think using an actual 32X is possible. I don't even think it would work because all it has is the HDMI port. So that's not even possible. Hmm. To be fair, there's not a lot of games for the 32X. There's good games, there's just not a lot of them. I feel like the 32X should have been its own console. It shouldn't have been an add-on. Back when they released it, I felt like it should have just been a new Genesis with 32X support when it came out. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's actually interesting. That's very interesting. What I would worry about, because I don't know how sturdy the internals are, you worked on them, is there's a bit of weight to a 32X. Well, some people have it in their collection. Some people have 32X games in their collection, and I guess they would really want to play it on a modern television. It's one of the things I kept noticing being asked about when the Mega SD was announced. There were a lot of comments, people asking about the 32X, me including. I was just very curious. It was like, 32X? And of course there were people that were going, no, it's impossible, it's impossible. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't think the 32X is that heavy. So that would be interesting. That would be really interesting to make work. If somebody wanted to take the time to make that work. Somebody could probably, that's something that just popped into my head. If somebody wanted to, they could probably come up with a special plug-in. They could develop a special plug that goes from the HDMI of the Mega SG into the 32X. Somebody could make a special plug or something if they wanted to, just to kind of simplify it. Some third party could come up with something like that if it would work. Oh wow, the Sega channel. I remember that. I remember back in the 90s when that came out, I was like, I want that. That sounds cool. I want that. But I don't think they ever offered it where I lived at the time. Oh, cool. So theoretically, if somebody has an actual 32X already, theoretically, they could, or maybe not even theoretically. Oh wow, really? So you just said that light gun games will work on this. Light gun games would work on these devices, on these systems, these FPGA consoles. Oh, on a CRT. Never mind. Okay, I'm an idiot. My brain just kind of skipped over the CRT part. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I got you. I really wish somebody would find an easy way to make that work on an HD TV. That would be awesome. If somebody found an easy way. Ah, okay. I got you. God, I'm stupid. Oh man. I don't know about that. I love light gun games. I don't know about that. I really love light gun games. But I'm probably a minority. I'm probably in the minority. I do love light gun games, but I do believe I'm in a minority there. I think I'm a small group of people in the world who are like, I love light games. I love light gun games. You know? Oh. Okay. Yeah, see, I'm not even thinking about NES light gun games. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm thinking about light gun games on the Sega Genesis and the Super Scope. The Super Scope 6 on the Super Nintendo. That was a lot of fun when I was younger. I loved it. That's cool. For the most part, yeah, they were. The Saturn had some really fun light gun games. I've got an actual Saturn. I have an actual Sega Saturn. Hopefully one day somebody can accurately replicate the Saturn hardware. Someday. Either software-wise or hardware-wise, I don't care. But I'm kind of hoping one day somebody's able to do that. At some point. I love the Saturn. It wasn't a big success, but it just has some really cool games, and it had potential that wasn't harnessed. The Saturn just didn't, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I have a Saturn. I love it. There's some good games on it. There's genuinely some good games, just not a lot. There could have been more, but Sega screwed up. We'll just say that. We'll say at the time Sega wasn't doing right. We'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I prefer older games because there's a certain pizzazz that games used to have. And I can't explain it any better than that. But older games had this pizzazz to them. And Fallout New Vegas. I couldn't get into that series. I have hell with those games because I've got Elder Scrolls games, I've got Fallout games, and I never complete them. Oh. From what I understand, you made something that's 100% compatible, which other companies haven't been able to do. Like, I know there's a few companies that make other devices for, clone consoles, and they don't work with everything. Ah, okay. I can't really get into those games anymore. Every time I go back and try to play it, it's just so vast and so big and so unfocused. I like linear. I like games that are more linear rather than open-ended, because there's so much in front of you. Oh, okay. Yeah. One of these days I'm going to get one. One day. One day I'll get one day. One day. One day. Right now I can't do it. But one of these days. Oh. I blame the fact that I have like anxiety and ADD. My focus is all over the place. I have trouble focusing and whatnot, and then my anxiety kicks in, and I feel overwhelmed. Overwhelmed, and that's why I don't do good with those games. That's why I like older games. I like older games because it's more focused most of the time. But I feel like games had a pizzazz that's lost nowadays. Yeah, you could. Yeah, it drives me nuts. That's what anxiety is. It's panic attacks. It's where you just start going, you're having trouble breathing, and your heart is racing, and it's like you're terrified of something. And yeah, I'm okay right now, so that's good. That's the only time I come on here is when I'm perfectly okay. That's the only time I do live streams or even a video is when I'm not going to be weird. When I'm not going to be panicky or anything like that. So that's the only reason I'm live streaming tonight. Plus early. For me, it's all over the place. For me, it's random. It is random. It's random, and it comes out of the blue. And oftentimes, I have no idea what's causing it. And when I'm having nights like that, or even days like that, I don't bother with the internet much. I stay off of it when it's that bad. Ah, okay. I envy people who understand this stuff like you do. I envy you for being able to work on this stuff. So do I. That's how long I'm on. I'm on all night, but it's kind of I'm on all night because I have to be, because my internet is garbage. Satellite is garbage, and because it's such garbage, that's why I come on at night. I come on until like 6 in the morning. Usually, depends on how busy it is. But I have satellite, and it's pretty limiting. And the only time I have no limits is at night. So that's why I'm here right now. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't even know that Analog was a Chinese company. Wow, so you're working for a Chinese company. That's crazy. Well, not bad crazy, just wow crazy. Mostly because I didn't know that. I didn't know Analog was a Chinese company. Oh, they are. Oh, okay. So they're station. They're okay. They're headquartered, or okay, yeah. Analog is it's an American company, but they're living in Hong Kong right now. Okay, all right. The company's there at the moment. I love the controller that 8-Bit Dome made. That is such a sleek Sega styled controller. I love it. It sucks. It doesn't look like it works for anything but the Mega SG. Ah, okay. I guess that explains the partnership with 8-Bit though. That does explain that. Yeah, yeah. I just really like how it looks. It looks sleek and everything. but it doesn't use Bluetooth, so I have no use for one. Retrobit is coming out with some Bluetooth Sega styled controllers, but quality is up in the air. We don't know. Capcom Soldier Pad. I don't think I've ever heard that. Heard of one of those. Capcom Soldier Pad. Now I gotta look it up. Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow. That's... How would you even hold that? What in the world? How would you hold that? That looks unusual. Like, I don't even know if that's comfortable. It is ergonomic? I'm not sure how I would hold that device. I really don't know how I would hold it. Kind of like maybe my I don't know. It's like, okay, this hand like here using the cross pad, and this hand over here maybe like this and doing like this. I don't know. That's kind of that is so unusual. It is? Huh. Huh. Okay, so there's one for the Super Nintendo. Huh. Cool. Oh, so you like RPGs like the old turn-based ones? My favorite RPG series of all time is the original Phantasy Star series on the Sega consoles. Those are my favorite RPGs. The original Phantasy Star 1, 2, 3, and 4. Kinda sad that they never made a sequel, or a proper sequel that wasn't online. Yeah, it's like I wouldn't say it's casual, but it's not hardcore either. It's kind of in the middle somewhere. And I think that was intentional. I think that was by design because little kids play, young people play games like that. So at the time when it came out, it was just they were just I think just trying to keep it from being too hard for people to play who were younger. They didn't want to make it to be a very challenging RPG or anything, so. But it's a fun game. Good music. I like the story. Kind of wish Nintendo would make another Mario RPG similar to that. Isometric. That would be cool. Instead, we get Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi games. Equinox. Equinox. What was that on? That was on a Super Nintendo? Equinox. I think I played that. I think I played Equinox. Oh, okay, yeah. The character kind of looks like he's got a turban. The main character looks like he has a turban. I love the music in... Actually, I can actually go to it. There were a few games on the Super Nintendo that had really good music made for them. That were just surprisingly good. Like this one. Yeah. Yeah. I think that was a lot of early consoles. They just couldn't get an electric guitar right. I like this music. That's from Super Adventure Island. Sounds like some kind of early hip-hop or something, doesn't it? Well, I don't know if you have sound on, so yeah. I love the music in Super Adventure Island. Another game that had good music, but the game was terrible, was Blues Brothers. Like, it's not an easy game. But it had good music. There is a game that I played that had good electronic guitar samples, actually. And I'm trying to remember what that game was. It was pretty good. I think it was... on the Super Nintendo, the Blues Brothers? It's short? I didn't know it was short. I haven't beaten it. It's a hard game to beat. It's long. It's... No, Uniracers. Uniracers had some pretty decent electric guitars, I thought. I thought that it had some pretty decent electric guitars. Samples. Uniracers. I think it was Uniracers. Rock and Roll Racing was okay. It wasn't bad either. I think Uniracers were pretty good. There's another game, and I can't remember what it was called, but it had superb electric guitar samples. And I can't remember what game it was. Oh. I'm looking for something. I was looking for something and I can't find it. Huh. Oh, well, that's not even... Okay. There it is. I found it. It was made by DMA Designs. Have no idea who DMA Designs is. But yeah, it had some decent electric guitar samples. I can't remember the other game I played, but there was another game I played that sounded... I don't think I ever played Blood Money. In fact, I don't even think I played much of anything on the Amiga. I remember the Amiga having almost Super Nintendo quality graphics, very close. I remember the Amiga having an issue with sound effects, I think. Whoa, really? That's crazy. You couldn't use Sega or Sonic as a name in Uniracers. What the heck? I hate when games do that, actually. I played a few games that would censor or not let you use them. That's stupid. That's just crazy. That is just crazy. That's Uniracers. That's like the title screen. Okay, yeah, maybe not the greatest. But I remember as a kid listening to this. I remember as a kid listening to this and saying, wow, that sounds a lot like an actual electric guitar, but when you're a kid, yeah. Yeah, for the time it was fine, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, ActRaiser has awesome music. Awesome, awesome music. There's a few themes in there that I really love. The opening theme, I for some reason. Yeah, it's not short if you're willing to play the overhead portions, but it's still short. It's still short. I love the music. This and Castlevania. Yeah, this and Castlevania had really good music. I like the bass. The Super Nintendo had awesome music. I didn't know that, actually. I had no idea. I kind of wish somebody would make a modern take on that. I would love an ActRaiser 3. It'll never happen, but I would love one. I'd love an ActRaiser 3. Oh, wow. So if you get enough points in the action stage. No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. In fact, it's kind of sluggish to play. I've beaten it once, but it's such a pain in the ass. I've beaten it only once in my entire life, and it was a pain in the ass. I like the music. The music's still pretty good, but that's it. I was a glutton for punishment. I played it and I kept playing it. I was doing as kids nowadays say to do. I was attempting to get good. I attempted to get good. And in reality, it feels like I just barely beat the game by the skin of my teeth. But I really love a lot of the music that was made back then. Like, it was really good music back then. And I don't feel the same way about modern games. Yeah, that's exactly how I was. I chose to sit inside and beat a crappy-ish game. That was me most of the time. Sit there and played it and played it and played it and played it and played it. And I still go back and do that from time to time with a lot of older games. But I find myself playing other stuff more. Stuff that I didn't used to play when I was younger. I didn't like it when I was younger. Nowadays, I like playing shoot-em-ups or shmups or whatever word you want to use. I used to call them shooters, but nowadays if you call something a shooter, people assume you're talking about a first-person shooter. A first-person shooting game. An FPS, and I'm not. I'm talking about a ship shooter. It's kind of crazy how all these terms get flipped around over time. But I play a lot of them now, and I didn't play them when I was younger. I couldn't stand them when I was younger. And it's the older ones. Like if I play a new shoot 'em up, because there's new ones that come out all the time. I suck at the new ones because the new ones are bullet hell. A lot of the new shoot 'em ups that come out are bullet hell. So you got tons of bullets just coming at you. And it's as if the developer said, well, we can do this. Let's just do it because we can. I've beaten a couple of games. I can't beat the new ones. Because they're all bullet hells now. And I hate bullet hells. But yeah. I don't either. It's just too much happening at once. It's a good way to trigger my anxiety. Yes, I do. I actually do have Skype. I do have the Skype. And you're the first person to ask me if I have Skype. Everybody else constantly asks me if I have things I don't have. It's like, yeah, I got Skype. The only problem is what are you talking about? Bean pie under my head. Half of a bean? What's a bean pie? A bean pie. Can I have half of that bean pie under your head? Bean under my head. Bean pie? The hell are you talking about? Oi. But yeah, I have Skype. My neck going jello. Dude, I've been losing weight. So F you. Wow, dude. Wow. Okay, hang on a second. I got somebody I gotta block. Because they're being a dick. I've actually been losing weight. I was over 302 pounds like 5 months ago. I'm losing good weight. What the hell are you talking about? Thankfully, these are all hidden. I can't give you my Skype name right now because there's somebody here watching me that's probably going to start pestering me on Skype. And it's, wow. Okay. Oh my God. Hang on just a second. I gotta ban somebody from my channel real quick. Wow. Just wow. I'm having to block somebody. I blocked them and now I'm put them in a timeout. And now they're in a timeout. There we go. Wow, sorry about that. They can't say anything else, but I can't give you my Skype with them watching because they're obviously a troll, and if they got my name, they would be giving me hell on Skype. Holy crap. I think I can send you a private message here on YouTube. I think I can go to your channel and send you a private message. So I'm going to do that. There's discussion. Yeah, because I don't want to give the world my Skype. I don't want to do that. there's a discussion, and I'm trying to see if there's a thing where you can. Most channels have a thing where you can. Let's see, channels, discussions. Oh, about. I don't think you can. You can't send private messages on here anymore. What the? See, that's one of the problems with what they've done. With what? Google Plus. Oh, there's Google Plus. That was an idiotic move. That was an idiotic move on their part. That was just ridiculous. But there's Google Plus, and I think I can send you a message on Google Plus. I do believe I can send you a message on... No, there's got to be a way to send you a message on Google Plus. Unless I got rid of it there too. What in the world? I can follow you on Google Plus. I'm trying to figure out how to send messages, and I don't see anything. There's a thing called discussion. Yeah, I'm not really on there either. I'm gonna give you a comment. It'll be in your well, you'll probably see it here in a minute. Yeah, I sent a thing on your discussions on your channel. There's this thing called discussions, and I just sent you a thing on the comments discussions. Hopefully you can see that. Man, that dude was rude. I keep getting people like that. And I think it's the same person making different accounts and giving me a hard time and insulting me and acting like a child. I get a lot of these people at random. Okay. Well, now that you have it... Okay, good. I do not need these people giving me a hard time. I deleted it. Ah, it's deleted. Yeah, it's Michael Ponder. It's a silly star like I have for my YouTube channel. Oh crap, I just gave you my name. Holy crap, I just said it out loud. Oh crap. Oh, you found me. Okay, good. Yeah, I blocked him because that was uncalled for. He was saying stuff that was being hidden. He called me he called me an N-word lover. An N-word lover. Which is very racist and very inappropriate. An N-word lover, he said that, he said some pretty messed up stuff. It wasn't popping up because it was pretty Okay, yeah, yeah. So I keep getting people like that. It's crazy. It's like, wow. Mm-mm-mm. I think there's a way to do live streams that are only for my subscribers, but that would leave people out, and they wouldn't be. Well, if it goes up as a video afterwards, my subscribers, people who aren't subscribers, can watch it. But I can filter out anyone except for subscribers, and that'll probably help me in the future. Like, I can do a live stream that's only for my subscribers, which means that nobody else can come in and give me a hard time. So I might do that in the future. I didn't want to, but I'll probably do that. It's probably the best thing I can do. But yeah, I envy you for having the technical know-how to work on the things that you have worked on. I envy you. I would love to be able to, work on technical stuff like that. But you're looking at a guy who really, really, really sucks with math. He sucked with math for his entire life. Math is not my, it's not something I'm very good at. I am pretty terrible at math. And you got to know math to know technical stuff, I think. I think you have to know math. Exactly. It is. I have calculators. I can whip out my phone and use the calculator if I have to. You can or can't. Oh, you can. I didn't know. I didn't think so. They make such a big deal about knowing math nowadays. They make it a lot of a big deal. Well, don't you have to know math to work on technology? To make technology, to do all this stuff? Really? I didn't know. I did not know. I assume maybe it's just more about understanding circuitry, understanding currents, and things of that nature, not so much math. You can probably just whip out a calculator. Just having an understanding for yeah, understanding of. Oh, really? So when you design something, you design it digitally? You do everything you have to do digitally? That's that's pretty cool. I still don't think I could do any of that kind of stuff. Oh, okay. You know, and it's funny because I understand some technical things. I built my computer, so I understand some technical things. I know enough that I can build a. I can, you know, I can go down and select the right voltage and, you know, or the right power supply and the right processor and motherboard and sit here and assemble, you know, a computer. So there is that. But if I had to actually repair a motherboard or work on circuitry or any of that kind of stuff, I don't think I could do it. I'm much more artistically minded. Really? I suppose that's true. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some things that I do that's more than a lot of people could do. So, yeah. I've talked to people, it's like, I've talked to people who are like, I play consoles because I would play games, or I would have a PC and put one together, but I can't understand that stuff, and I'm too busy for that, and all kinds of other excuses. And I'm like, it's not that difficult, but I guess for them it is. What's funny is I'm still live streaming, so nobody's gonna see what you're saying now. But I blame YouTube. And I have to wait a minute. Optional features. Optional features. You can use different features to enhance your streaming. I'm just looking real quick at encoding, stream info. Okay, well, there's not a lot I could do with the chat on there. That sucks. YouTube is a pain. Yeah, actually. Yeah. Well, no. No, I can't do that. Here's why. My internet's not fast enough. Yeah. If I had better internet, sure. That was kind of one of the things I'm hoping for one day if my channel ever picks up. That way I could afford to... Oh, hey, Tripcore. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yeah. Tripcore's talking in the video chat. But yeah. But yeah, no, my internet's too limited. If I try to do that, my internet will drop. It's pretty terrible internet. It's really bad internet. One of these days, hopefully they'll bring something better where I live, or one of these days my YouTube channel will take off in such a way that I'll have extra money that I can use to purchase even better satellite internet. One day. One day. Oy. So I have two different chat things open right now. Skype and of course the channel chat. But yeah, Kevtris is yeah, it is limited, and it's not my fault. I tried to set it up. I promise you, I tried to fix it. I promise, Tripcore, I tried to fix it. But there's no setting options. Insert one-up sound. Okay then. Gotta wonder how long I've been streaming for. Holy moly, I've been live streaming for 2 hours. Over 2 hours. That's crazy. That's crazy. I did not know I've been going that long. Well, I sat here for a while before you both came up, and I just kind of talked directly to the camera and discussed politics. Yay! I discussed the election early on in the video or live stream. It's more depending on what your it depends on your web camera. If your camera is capable of and actually I can't live stream and bring you up that way at the same time. Technology. It advances over time, but it's still limited. Can't live with it, can't live without it. So yeah, I don't think I can pipe in footage. Trust me, I'd love to. I can try to. Let's put it like that. I can try to pipe you in and just, you know, keep my video camera off. And that might work. So I could probably pop you in that way. We can try. I'm just saying if I poof from YouTube and my YouTube live stream drops, we'll know it won't work. But I think I've tried before. Well, it's on my end. My end is at fault. I wouldn't be able to... Well, yeah, I can't run my camera at the same time. I can call you audio-wise, and they'll hear it. They'll hear the discussion. Like, if I hit call right now, it should work. It should work. Should work. I believe it would work. Skype crashed. I've never had... That's unusual. I've never had Skype crash. Okay. Oh, gotta love this weather. Gotta love this weather. Awesome. Yeah, you can try. You can try. Yep. Give it a shot. No harm in trying. Yep, I see you. Seems to be working. Is there an echo?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
I don't know. I can't.
And now I can't hear you.
I can't hear you over the Skype. I don't know. Can you answer with audio only? I'm not sure if that would work. Otherwise, I have to hear myself. Otherwise, I have to hear myself over the stream delayed.
Okay, alright, let's see what I got going on here. Good lord. Okay. Because I think I tried this with somebody once before and it was an issue. Especially doing a live stream. And you can't hear. Oh, it might be the microphone setup. I've had this issue before. Let's see something. Audio and video settings. It's camera. We're not worried about camera. We're worried about microphone. It says... there we go. That should be working now.
Yeah, here, let me mute this. Blah, 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 blah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Indeed.
yeah, now it's working.
Yeah,
It
it was...
doesn't look like it or anything.
Yeah, I had to set up the settings on my microphone. It was set to the wrong microphone is all. So there we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Skype with my camera there. If I power the computer up with the camera plugged in and Skype's running, it will crash when I try to call or use the camera until I unplug it and plug it back in. Why? I don't know.
That's technology for you. Something cool, and then you have difficulties with it. It's like, oh, it's cool, but... And then irritable things. Just irritable little things.
Well, I don't really hate CRTs all that much. As you see, there's one right behind me. Yeah, I think my audio's coming through. I just have it muted right now. Otherwise, people would just hear the feedback from it.
Yeah. I think... okay, that ain't working. That ain't working. Okay, so none of that's going to work, so... The best I can do is they can hear you. That's the best I can do.
I saw my mug on your screen there for about a second a while back.
Did you? Okay, that might have been... Like right now?
No, I see you now.
Okay. How about now?
That's not a big deal.
Saw it, and I'm trying to figure out how I did it.
I think I saw the Skype client probably.
Hey. It's something I need to figure out how to do anyways. It'll help in the future.
What software are you using?
OBS. It's free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's free. That's why I use it. That is why I use it. I think there's, let's see, because there's window capture, and then there's game capture, which might work. Game capture might work. They call it game capture, but it's okay, I'm not seeing that anywhere either. Well, joy.
So you just do window capture and use the Skype window, not the main window, but the video window.
Yeah, there's a one that's just the desktop. I can capture the desktop, and then blow you up so you can see you. Where is that? Display capture. Here we go. Hello. There we go. See, there's that, and you can kind of see yourself up there. And then I can like bring that back to the forefront.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Was that little Skype window right there?
Yep, and that's probably the best I can do for this.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's so weird. It works pretty good. Now I tried running this software in Linux, and the Linux version is terrible. And I don't know if it's my hardware. I don't think it's my hardware, but it works great in Windows.
Well, are you using Windows right now? Oh yeah, I guess you are.
Yeah,
I see it.
Yeah, Windows 10.
10, yeah.
And Tripcore is asking me what I think about the incoming refugees. Because of how I was raised that my answer to that is, and I hate talking politics. I talked politics way earlier. But that whole thing with the refugees, I have this attitude of, and this is because of how I was raised, it's an attitude of, come on in, we'll find room for you. If you're having a hard time that much, we'll do what we can for you. That's my attitude. My attitude is to help people if they're genuinely just looking for help or in a bad situation. And that's how I look at it. But at the same time, I know it's kind of dangerous just to let people walk in. So, I'm not really against them being here. Just, it is a worry. You never know. You never know who's coming in.
Yep.
Ugh. And he was asking if you were working on anything lately. I think you're still working on the Mega SG, so.
Whoops. Kill that.
That sounded cool. I don't know what it was, but it sounded cool.
It's Cosmic Carnage. I was listening to the VGM set of it earlier today.
It has some pretty decent music. I think I played it and I didn't like it. I think I tried to play it and it was just not very fun.
Yeah, I don't know if I think it's a fighting game, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. If I'm not mistaken. Get down. Lay down. Sorry, my dog. He at random will just kind of come up from where he's sleeping, climb up on the back of my recliner, which is like right next to me, and then try to get in my lap. Yeah, Sonic.
He's wondering what I was working on. There you go, right there, Sonic 2.
Yeah, that's what he's working on. No more questions. I've asked him plenty of questions. After the live stream is over, you can probably just look back through the video. I've already asked him all kinds of things. So once the video from the live stream goes up, you'll have answers. So I'm pretty sure I asked questions that people have been wondering.
Actually, I could have done a chip sorting video. I got a big box of chips at the Ham Fest a while back I haven't gone through. I don't know if anybody would actually watch it, though. I guess I could give them to Jason there, and he can sort through them.
Jason?
Yeah, the game tech guy.
I'm not sure I know who that is.
He said he just missed the game tech chip sorting videos.
Oh, okay. What kind of chips are these?
Like EPROMs.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
sure why I got them. I think he was going to make cartridges with them or something.
Yeah, so, yeah, they use them for, like, repros and stuff. A lot of people do. Yeah. Yeah, I thought about making repros, but, yeah.
He bought, like, what was it, 10 pounds of chips or something, or 20 pounds of chips. It was really obnoxious. That was like a lot of chips.
That is, wow. That is a lot.
Yeah, it was like a giant box, and then he was just, like, going through them. I thought it was pretty funny.
Oh, my God. I'm pretty sure there's people that could get a lot of use out of them, though.
Yeah, I think he ended up selling them all on eBay after he sorted them.
That's cool. I watch another. There's another guy I watch. I can't remember his name, but he does videos where he'll work on repros or he'll fix games. And
Moltar?
No. John Riggs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he does a lot of like. He'll do repairs mostly. Like somebody will send him a game and say there's something wrong with it, I don't know what, and he'll literally open it up and try and fix it.
Oh yeah, I've seen his videos.
Yeah, he does other stuff too, but yeah, he does that. I think he's done a few videos where he made some repros, I think, or he talked about them. And that's the only reason I know about the chips you're talking about is because of him. Chip sorting is therapeutic.
Therapeutic, yeah.
I'm probably the only one sitting here going, I would just get irritated just sorting through a bunch of chips.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him what do you do with all those chips. I think he ended up reselling them to somebody that was making repros. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah. Let's see. I think there's a way I can throw my face back up, but I don't think it's necessary to actually see me. I'm not doing anything, so it's fine just to hear me.
I'm not doing a whole lot either. I'm just looking at Genesis cartridge boards for the fun of it that are just laying here because I've been testing.
Oh, okay.
Virtual Eraser. It's a Virtual Eraser.
Virtual Racing?
Yeah, it's the only, Virtua Racing. It's the only Genesis game with like an expansion chip in it.
Kind of like the FX chip.
Yeah, pretty much. It's their version of it.
Yeah. Help the Genesis to display polygons. But because of the limited color depth that you were talking about, I played that game, or that version of it, and constantly the mesh effect is like in full view, in full use.
What, like dithering?
Yeah, dithering. I keep calling it a mesh effect, where it's just the checkerboard. Checkerboard's used a lot in that version.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get it to work on the Mega SG?
Yeah, I'm gonna see what I can do on that.
I don't even think very many people own that game. I didn't think very many people owned it. I didn't think that too many were made.
Well, it was like $100 when it was new. It was obscenely expensive, but it seems to be pretty common on eBay. It's like $15 now on eBay.
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, it's not terribly expensive if you really have to play it. So
Yeah, if you have to.
well, I have to play it whether I like it or not.
Well, I'm one of those people who I'm not a collector, so I don't have all these cartridges everybody has. So that's why I was like, I got a Raspberry Pi. That's how I play my stuff. It's like I wish I could afford to own all those games, but I can't. I can't afford it.
I ended up selling all my NES cartridges. I bought them really cheap from like flea markets, you know, when they were blowing them out from all the rental stores. So I got them really cheap, and then I ended up selling them. I was like, you know, I'm not playing these. You know, why are they kicking around taking up space? So
yeah,
I got rid of most of them.
I think one things that I noticed about the last couple of FPGA consoles you released is one of the things that people like to test are those flash carts. That's one of the main things they test, and it works on both of those. So
yes, it does.
Which I thought was cool. I didn't think it would, but it is. You might be able to correct me on this. Everybody keeps calling FPGA emulation, and I keep saying no. It's more like simulating actual hardware. It's hardware pretending to be hardware.
Yeah, it's a hardware simulation, what I would call it.
Hardware simulation. See, I was right. Everybody keeps calling it emulation. I'm like, it's not really emulation. That's software. It's simulation. It's hardware simulating hardware. It's not really emulation. So that was just kind of one thing that's been bouncing around in my mind for a while.
Yeah, I have to make sure everything works on it, because you know people are going to try everything. Yeah, that's why I tried one of those disc-based copiers. I know someone's going to plug one of those in.
Disc-based copier? I didn't know those existed.
Yeah, it runs Super Nintendo games off of floppy disks.
Oh boy.
And it needs a Genesis power supply to run it, which is the funny thing.
The other thing that I find kind of interesting is the fact that the Mega SG has an actual expansion slot for expansion bay for the Sega CD. I didn't expect that. That was like, wow, really? I didn't think something like that would be done.
It. Yeah, if I can do it, why not do it, huh?
That's true. That's actually very true. And just to kind of mention it, just so Tripcore can know, technically, it's possible to hook a 32X to this thing. Technically, it's kind of possible to do that. It's not possible for him to make the device run 32X games like directly, but it's probably possible to actually hook a 32X up to it. So that's something. It's something. It's better than nothing. For those who are obsessed with being able to play their 32X games, you know.
Yeah, for the like 3 good ones, I think it is. Someone said.
Well, it depends on who you ask. Like, there's me personally, I think there's like more than 3, but that's just me personally. And a lot of people don't like Knuckles Chaotix, but I love that game for some reason. I've beaten it at least 5 different times. Yeah, it's pretty close to the arcade, I think. The Mortal Kombat 2 for the 32X is pretty close to
Isn't
the.
there 2 also?
Yeah, but that's one of the ones that aren't quite that good. Like, it's okay, but it's not great. And to be fair, if I'm not mistaken, it runs better than the Super Nintendo version. The Super Nintendo Doom was kind of choppy, and
It's terrible.
it
Really
is.
low resolution. I was very impressed with it though, that they like managed to actually get it to work, even though it's really terrible. It's an incredible technical achievement, so I can kind of think it's interesting from that point of view.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, and I'm wrong a lot. I think he used the FX chip for that. I think
It does.
So, yeah, so that's what
It
I
does.
thought. Well, it's all that
But
geometry.
it's incredible for what it is, even though it's not very fun and it's terrible to play, but it's really cool. Just the technical aspect of it.
Yeah, just like you said earlier, something for the time. Like when they do something like that for the time, it's really cool for the time and everything. But looking back, it's kind of
It's just incredible they got the whole game into 2 megabytes also.
That too. But the one on the 32X, it runs more smoothly. It does kind of miss some things, and the soundtrack is terrible. The audio was like, they didn't put a lot of effort into it on the 32X. So, and the screen doesn't get very.
The audio on the Super Nintendo is actually pretty good, I thought.
It is, yeah. It's different, but it's good. When it came to Doom,
it's more true to the PC version.
A bit, yeah, quite a bit, yeah. But the 32X version was like, oh god, why? And which is funny because I've seen a few people actually take the Yamaha and actually reproduce those songs a lot better than the actual 32X. And I was like, wow, why couldn't they have done that at the time? Like I said, it seems like one of those things.
They may have just ran out of time too.
Yeah, time constraints lead to stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh crap! We gotta get this game out in 2 months. Get it done.
Yeah, so little things like that. It's like, at times it's like good enough. So, I'm not even sure who worked on that port of Doom for the 32X. I have no idea.
It was developed directly by John Carmack, it says.
Really? I didn't think he worked on that. I know the one for Super Nintendo was not made by John Carmack. That was made by somebody third party.
Yeah. It was released by Williams, of all people.
Yeah, that was unusual.
As in pinball machine people.
They released video games, but they started with pinball.
They did.
They just kind of started with pinball.
I remember them for their pinball machines, though.
I don't think I played a whole lot of pinball when I was younger. I think the only time I ever actually stepped up and played a pinball machine was at a pizza place, and they had a Super Mario pinball machine. And it was the first time I ever heard, oh God, what is his name? You know, the voice of Mario was used in that pinball machine. Charles Martinet. There we go. Took me a bit to get it.
I think Stern made that, didn't they?
I think so. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a Stern. Oh no, Gottlieb made it. Okay.
Oh, okay. It was pretty decent. It was. I remember having fun. You know, when you're a little kid, there's a lot of things that are really entertaining, even if it's not very good. When you're that young. That was like in the early '90s, I think.
92 it says.
Yeah. So they had him before the N64 ever came out. They had him doing that
Oh,
voice.
okay. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he'd already been doing that voice before Super Mario 64 ever came out. So they just had him do it for the game. And every game since. Oh, goodness. So, it's really interesting the kind of stuff that was, it's been made over the years. And that they've had to... Sometimes they just used unusual workarounds to do some unique things. Which goes back to that limitation breeding ingenuity and everything like that. From, back then.
Yeah, that's what I think is interesting about the older video games is how they work around constraints.
Yeah. There was a lot of constraints, and I'm trying to remember... I know, well, sometimes they couldn't work around constraints. Like, Secret of Mana was originally going to be for the CD add-on, and a lot of stuff just ended up cut. And it became a completely...
For what, on the Super Nintendo?
Yeah, Secret of Mana for Super Nintendo was a completely different game. They had, like, different ideas, and they literally just kind of separated different ideas into two groups and literally made two games. Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana were originally the same game. They just took these different ideas. Yeah, they literally just took these different ideas that they had for this one game, and since they couldn't do it on that CD add-on wasn't going to come, they ended up making two separate games, Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana.
And, yeah, that's one game I still want to play through. I still want to play through Chrono Trigger. I actually have the cartridge of it. I got it a while back, but I've never actually played it other than just starting it.
I played I played through it once, but I only went through one of the endings. There's like multiple endings to it that you can get, and I only got one of the endings. That was it. It's a good game, especially for its time. It never got I don't feel like it ever got a proper sequel. It kind of got a sequel, but it was a terrible sequel. It was just like so loosely connected to the first one. Very loosely.
What did that come out on?
PlayStation, Chrono Cross.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah,
I kind of went to the PC Master Race in 92 or 93, so my console gaming sort of fell apart after that point. I
went to PC late 90s, I think 1999. Yeah, 1999. At that point, I just kind of had the means, and my cousin was already putting computers together. Like everything he had, he would find spare parts that people, they would upgrade things and throw things away, and he'd get them, and then he would build machines, and then he gave me a bunch of parts, and I learned how to put them together. And so that's how I had an early PC, and then eventually, once I had the money, I found it a lot cheaper, well, not really cheaper, but like easier to do, to basically buy the parts once a month. Like, so once a month, and I still do that to this day. 1 month I'll buy a motherboard. The next month I'll buy a video card or something. And then, so it takes longer, but I never have a bunch of money all at once for something like that. So that's kind of how I approach it. And I'm trying to remember when I remember. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
I just remember when I bought my first computer in 91. I had just started my job, and I saved up my money for a couple months and bought a 38640 with a 100 megabyte hard drive and 2 megs of RAM.
Wow. You know what's funny is a lot of the games that I missed because I didn't have computers. Like I didn't have a computer in our household or anything. So there's a lot on DOS and what that I missed, and a lot of it's like easy pickings on the internet now. A lot of it is, and it's so crazy now. So I'll turn on DOSBox and find a game that I never knew existed, and I'll be like, wow. So it's like it's like it's not even nostalgia, but it's like playing something old new for the first time, and I love that.
Oh yeah, I was impressed. Someone ported Wolfenstein for the Genesis. Have you ever seen that?
I didn't know. I didn't even know they did it. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really impressive. It plays really well. They did a really good port of the music and everything.
Wow. Is that like a ROM somewhere or?
Yeah. If you just search for Genesis Wolfenstein 3D, I'm sure you'll find it.
That's amazing actually. It's very amazing. Oh wow.
I can get the. I can aim the camera worth a damn here.
I was going to say, to be fair, the original Wolfenstein didn't have a whole lot of color in use, so I wouldn't imagine it would have been that difficult, I guess.
I mean, it plays really well. I'm very impressed with this guy's port of this game.
That does look pretty impressive. Wow.
It uses that dithering also, so he gets more colors out of the screen than usual.
Yeah. See, I like that effect, and I know a lot of people don't like it because it kind of affects the sharpness of all the pixels and whatnot, but you kind of got to blame Sega for designing the device the way it is. I can tolerate a Super Nintendo without any sort of blending effects more than I can tolerate the Genesis because of how they were just kind of designed. You know. And what really gets me is like that game Sonic Mania. Rather than taking advantage of, everything that hardware can do nowadays and actually, making the waterfalls actually, transparent, they stuck with the lines. They stuck with just those lines going down. I'm like, why? Why?
Because then they didn't have to do any work, It's easier if you don't have to do any work.
Or any heavy thought processing. I don't think it's impossible. I mean, there's like the chemical plant zone has this weird transparent goo gelatin stuff everywhere. So, well, that was weird. I just find that really unusual that they would do like that.
Well, that's just a palette swap. If you mean like the water line, that's easy to do. That's a palette swap.
No. I mean waterfall, just being those lines going down straight. Because if you play Sonic 1, it's just lines, and that's without the dithering. So you play, and well, like I said earlier, that's why I like playing them on a CRT. It looks less like solid lines, and it comes off like Sega intended to come off. You've never played anything on the GBA?
I own a GBA, but I only have regular Game Boy and Game Boy Color games to play on it.
Oh, there's some good games. I mean, are you a fan of the Zelda series at all?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
The thing that really annoys me about the GBA is the audio on it is terrible.
You know what's funny about that? The hardware was capable of better, but they couldn't store enough data for the music to be better, and that's why it's so terrible. It's not the hardware. It's actually
it's all software mixing, and that was the problem. They had to budget their CPU time between mixing, i.e. sample rate, and the game engine.
Well, here's the thing about that. There's actually a hacked ROM of the Final Fantasy ports for the GBA that run on the GBA and restore the music. So
yeah, they bumped the sample rate up because the game could handle it.
And I'm just going by what I've heard and some things that I've read is that they could have done better. It was just it was mostly just the constraints of the cartridges and how much data could be stored on them. Mostly that was mostly it. I mean, especially when you look at Castlevania. Oh God, it was the second one that came out on the GBA. I can't remember the name of it. It's a large game, and they skimped on the music. They made the music chip tunes. They stuck with an 8-bit music for that game on a GBA.
I wonder why. I wonder if it was time constraints or space constraints or something.
It was space constraints. Yeah, it was space constraints. There's only one song in the entire game that's not chiptune, and it's at the very end when you beat the game, and it's a recording. It's not samples. Yeah, it's not samples. It's an actual recording of a theme that's playing, and it's
funny.
And the quality is so low that you can kind of hear crackles and hiss and whatnot to it.
Oh yeah, that's what really gets me is the aliasing you can hear on the audio on the GBA. It just really like irritates me.
Yeah, the hissing and the
It's just that I don't know. It's just since I know what it is, it's like one of those things. It's like a fart in a car. You just can't hide it.
I think I think something like that could be corrected by way of software. I'm pretty sure there's an emulator out there that fixes the hissing.
Well, it's because the sample rate's so low. There's really not a lot you can do. You'd have to do some heavy duty low passing on there or something to get rid of it. It'd be pretty difficult.
Yeah,
It might be possible. I don't know.
When it comes to sound on hardware, the Genesis I already know was capable of clean voice sound samples and whatnot. It was capable of it. It was just storage. It was space, and that's why some
CPU.
Oh, it was. Well, because I know I played a few Sega Genesis games that had voice samples that sound pretty crisp. But then there's like Street Fighter where it's like gargling. It's like, and it's like, oh
yeah, you know why? You know why? It's because the Z80's playing the samples, and then when they're like loading the graphic data, it interrupts the sample, so it makes that like buzzy, like what, like to the sample. That's why that does that.
Oh, okay. Well, because I know some games.
It's a technical limitation.
I've seen some games overcome it though. That's what's weird.
Oh yeah, you can. It's tricky though, but you can do it.
It was probably a developer not wanting to spend the time and resources in trying to sort it out.
Yeah. Yeah. The secret is you buffer the data. So you have to read the data from the cartridge, and when you're doing that, it actually takes time away from the CPU, the 68K. It actually stalls it to read that data out of the cartridge.
I kept figuring that it was something more along the lines of they couldn't store a whole lot of information for the sample for the voice, and that's why it's crackly. It's compressed, is what I thought is why whenever there was a voice, it had that crackly, gargly sound. That's what I thought.
Well, that is part of it. Yeah, you're limited to space, but you're also CPU limited. So if you want to make the sample sound really good while the game's playing, you have to buffer them with the Z80. You use its RAM and you can buffer it. So when the graphics is doing its fetching or whatever, it doesn't interrupt it, and then you don't get that burbly sound.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm trying to remember what game. Some games took advantage of that gurgly sound and made it sound intentional. Like Kid Chameleon, when it yells at you, die, and everything like that. Like it intentionally sounds like they were like, well, we know it's going to sound like this. Let's make it work.
I thought it was funny on Sonic 1, the 68K actually plays all the music, and the Z80 is just a drum kit.
Yeah, they've done that. I mean, there's several games on the Genesis where because the Genesis, correct me if I'm wrong, they literally just built on top of what they had for the Master System and used things that they had used before. when they were making
Yeah,
the
it's a
Genesis.
master system with a new CPU, FM chip, and video. But yeah, underneath it is a master system, so it has the Z80, and that they made that do like sound duty.
And that's why it's not that difficult to make a master system run on the Mega SG.
Yeah, it does run on there, so.
Well, I seen the little adapters, so
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, if you
figured
want to
that
use a power-based converter, it will work.
it will, but there's this little thing that's less bulky.
Yeah, it
and-
comes with one. Yeah,
No,
it comes with one, but you
yeah.
can. Yeah, you can use an official power-based converter though too, if you really, really wanted to.
If you already have it,
Yeah.
it's like you don't need this little thing, but it comes with it, so hey, that's nice. It's less of an eyesore.
Yeah, the power-based converters are expensive. They're like $80 or $100 on eBay. I was like, geez.
That's crazy. I don't even think
Yeah.
they do all that much to make it work. So that's wow.
Yeah, there's not a lot in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
$111, $70 for one.
And
$80. Yeah, they're expensive.
And if you're in the market for a new Sega Genesis and you can't really afford to do that, you just spend just a little over, almost $200, and there you go. There you go. Make it pretty easy like that. It's like, that's a pretty good deal. I can play my Master Systems games on this thing too. Wow. Is there
Well, the flash carts.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the flash carts, like the EverDrive, it'll actually play on Master System and Genesis games, like right from the cartridge. You don't need any converter.
Oh, cool. And it does support that FM, doesn't it? If the ROM or the game or whatever supports it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do the FM.
Yeah, it sounds really good, like in Miracle Warriors. Miracle Warriors, it sounds pretty good. It's an RPG.
I think I played it actually when I was doing the Master System development a while back.
Yeah, it's
I
like
played most of the games.
it's like on the screen. It's divided up into like different sections of a screen. Like you have this one little section that's the actual overworld map, and all it is a little red square that moves around, and then off to the side it's a portrait of the character with the landscape shifting and changing and everything, and the battles consist of one monster, which seems to be a running theme with RPGs on the Master System, because the first Phantasy Star did that too.
Yeah, I played that too. I played that for a couple hours.
Yeah. Well, since
when I was doing testing.
Yeah, since you can't really overclock anything because it'll burn out the cartridge. That means you can't do what I did. Like, so I was using an emulator that was playing Master System games, and when I bumped up the overclocked the CPU a bit. Well, it's not an actual CPU, but in the software. One of the things that I noticed, and it did this to Phantasy Star, was those mazes you go through were less janky, less slow. They were very smooth, and when you went through them, it was amazing.
Yeah, those are probably CPU bound.
Yeah, so if you try that with the Mega SG, like you said, it'll burn the cartridge. So
it doesn't really burn it out, but it'll just crash if you try to run it too fast.
Okay.
That's all that happens. Because the ROM can't keep up, so it can't get the data fast enough, so the game crashes.
I wonder if that would work with a flash cart thing, or no?
Well, it's cartridge dependent. Actually, some cartridges you can run them a lot faster than others.
Oh, okay.
It just depends on the ROM access speed. It's kind of like overclocking a CPU. It's kind of dependent right on the CPU you own. Even though you may have two of the same CPU, one might overclock faster than the other.
Ah, okay.
So it's very similar. Each ROM chip is different, even if it has the same data on it. So some may be faster than others.
Get over there and lay down. Eat or something. I don't care, dog. Just do something. Quit whining at me. Sorry, my dog. He's sitting behind me. And now he's trying to, get in my lap. What? Okay, yes. It's not even my dog, it's my brother's dog, but my brother, he basically moved out. And he moved to he basically moved in with his girlfriend. And they're like on the other side of town, and he couldn't take his little dog, so his little dog is stuck with me.
You're the dog babysitter.
Pretty much, yeah. He's a nice dog. He's sweet. Like right now, he's trying to kiss me. Yeah, no, I don't want kisses. Sorry, bud. Not right now. But yeah. So yeah, he'll sleep for a while, and then he'll get up and start roaming around and whining at me, and he's basically lonely. Basically, wants up in my arms like a little child. Pick me up, please. And he's sitting here looking at he's looking up at the screen like, who is that? I don't know them. I always found it interesting that a dog will watch TV or your monitor or anything like that. They'll sit there and just watch it. And you have to wonder, are they being entertained?
Oh no, I noticed, I saw a while back someone was trying to make a cable TV channel for dogs.
You know why, right? Because they're trying to turn it into a babysitter for their dogs, just like they try to do it for kids. That's my theory.
Well, Nickelodeon was a pretty good babysitter.
Yep, for a while. Yeah. I don't think that's what TV's meant to be for. And that's why it drives me nuts when parents happen to come in and see something that they don't agree with and they have an issue with, and then they scream for censorship, and it's like, why are you leaving your child with a TV as the babysitter, you idiot?
Yeah.
It's not really meant for that.
Well, they think it is.
Of course. They think it is, and they think just because they have an issue with it that it shouldn't exist. I meet people like that all the time. Have an issue with something, so it shouldn't exist.
Well, when I was a kid, we had, 4 TV channels, I think it was. We lived out in the sticks, so we had 4 TV channels. Oh, no, sorry, we had 5. We had the 3 networks, PBS, and an independent.
You want to know what's hilarious about that? Or it's hilarious to me? And I'm not making fun of you or anything, but it's the fact that I live in the boonies right now. That's where I live. I don't have cable or anything like that. I pick up way more channels than that now.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Well, with digital, they could have 4 or 5 on a station, so yeah.
Yeah, so I've got like 30, 40 something channels. And that's crazy to me just from that. So it's like, why am I going to pay for cable? Why? I went down, bought an aerial antenna, and bought a God, what do you call it? A signal booster, a booster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't
have a TV set up here, if you can believe that.
Well, you're a busy guy. What do you need TV for? Plus, I'm sure you have a smartphone. Everyone does. If you need to know how the weather is or something like that, you can just flip it on and check the weather and whatnot.
I have a smartphone. I hardly use it. I don't like smartphones, really, if you can believe that.
Oh, okay.
I have one app on my smartphone.
I use my smartphone, like I said, if I can't get to anything and I can't see TV, like if the signal's not working too well, and I'm like, what is the weather going to be? I don't want to sit and wait on that, so I just flip it up and check the weather, and that's it. I don't do much else. Talk and check the weather. Maybe
I have a calculator app on there.
Maybe look at the time. That's it.
Yeah, I got a smartphone, and I don't do anything with it. I really don't have a need for it. I use it as a phone, but I don't really do much on it. I have one app, which is a calculator app. Actually, I have 2. I have an ad blocking browser and a calculator, and that's it.
An ad blocking browser. You know what's driving me nuts? Those don't. I've noticed that ad blockers don't work as well as they used to. A lot of websites are circumventing it. So.
Well, I use NoScript also, which blocks the ad blockers.
Oh, really? I didn't even think that was possible. I wonder I wonder how difficult something like that would be to set up.
It's not too bad. The way it works is that you go to a website, none of the scripts work, and you can whitelist them. So when I go to YouTube, actually I can drop it down. Let's see, on YouTube, I have like YouTube.com can run scripts, Google can run scripts, Google Video can run scripts, but DoubleClick.net cannot run scripts. And DoubleClick is an ad company.
Well, I've got family and a few friends on Facebook, and every time I go on there, I'm bombarded with crap I don't care about. I used to not be, but now I am. Now it's
I don't use Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. I don't have an account on any of those.
The only reason I use either of those is just because people drug me there. People were like wanted to talk to me on there or show me things, and that's why I'm there. My mom insists on using Facebook rather than doing the simple thing. I don't get this. She's like a freaking teenager. Rather than just calling me. Real easy. Pick up the phone, dial a number. And it's easy to dial numbers nowadays. You store them. You click a little thing. There it goes. And she insists on just talking on Facebook. Contacting me on Facebook.
My mom actually uses text messages. So that seems to work out.
She'll do that to me too. She'll text me all the time. She won't call. I'll have to call her. She'll start text because I get frustrated. I don't like texting on my phone. I hate doing that crap. So she'll start texting me, and I won't even read. I'll just see that there's a text from her, and I'll just dial the number and say, "Yeah, Mom," because I just don't have the patience.
I have to usually call my mom. Otherwise, she'll just text me for whatever reason. They're out in Arizona now, so I'm in Indiana.
I am in the quote-unquote great state of Texas. Quote-unquote.
In the boonies of Texas, apparently.
Yeah. I was one of the few people when I went in to vote that wasn't doing a straight ticket. Everyone else was, how do I do a straight ticket? Well, I'm just going to do Republican straight ticket. I'm sitting back going, you ignorant SOB. And that was everyone that was coming in after me. I'm sitting there taking my time going, no, not this person. This person. So I'm pretty sure I voted for different people that are in different parties. Because I don't vote based on the party. That's an idiotic thing to me. You don't vote just based on a party. You don't. You base on if you're gonna vote for somebody, vote because of their stances on issues and their content of character. You don't just go, well, they're Republicans. I'm gonna vote Republican. You don't do that. Or I don't think you should, but that's how everybody around me where I lives. First thing I do when I walk into the voting place is a guy from my neighborhood, really old fella, going, "You ain't old enough to vote, are you?" I'm sitting there just looking at him, shaking my head, scratching, going, "What? I'm losing my freaking hair, and you're wondering if I'm old enough." I think he was just messing with me.
I'm old enough to vote. I'm not old enough to drink.
No, I'm old enough to drink. I just don't have the body to be drinking. I don't have the health to drink.
I don't drink. I don't like alcohol, so that's not a problem for me.
I can tolerate like a very low percentage, like very, very low. So I'll have there's been a few times in my life I had a pina colada, but the percentage of alcohol was so freaking low that I couldn't taste it. And I didn't have much, and I didn't get drunk. But that's the only time.
I've been drunk a couple times. That was enough for me.
Yeah, I don't get drunk because I seen how my mother is. All you need is somebody in your life to get drunk and show you how it is to be drunk, and you don't want to get drunk. That's how I feel about it.
I
When
got
you
drunk one time when I was 21, and then I proceeded to play through Super Mario World.
you while you were drunk.
Yeah,
That's
it was pretty funny because, your reaction time, gets really like, you get really bad reaction time. So I had to mentally push the button long before I wanted Mario to like jump.
you had to get ahead of yourself there.
Yeah, I had to like think, okay, I'm gonna jump. So I think I was pressing the button, and then Mario took like half a second or whatever to jump. It was just interesting. There was like that lag, that mental lag. It's like, okay, I'm gonna jump now, and I jump, and then like, quarter second later, oh yeah, now Mario jumps. So I had to kind of make all my jumps like earlier, so they would like I would be able to jump at the right time.
Thank you, Tripcore. I do them all the time. It's like good voices there. Yes, I do voices and impressions all the freaking time. All the time. Well, at random. At random. It's a cool game show idea. Beating games while drunk. If you can just barely manage to even beat the second level, you win the biggest prize.
Actually, I played through Super Mario World the whole thing. I beat the game. I went through the Star Road to get to like World 8 really quick.
Oh,
So I
okay.
ended up beating it in about 2 hours, starting from a new game.
Not really a completionist, but you got to the end.
Yeah.
The
Actually,
end.
I got through all 96 exits on Super Mario World when I was developing the Super NT, doing testing again.
Testing. They have you do that? You don't have anybody to test it for you? That's
Well, I do have some testers, but during development, I'm the only one that has a prototype, and I'm the only one like working on it, so I can't really
uh
send it out because I have to have like 3 programming dongles plugged into the board, so it kind of makes it hard to, send someone one and have them test it if they have all this stuff plugged in like it's on life support.
so what do? You just test one game out of a specific type of game with a specific chip or whatever, just to make sure that
Well, I
that
usually I test every game.
wow, every game.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. So, I mean, I won't play it very long, but like I'll start the game, make sure the game runs, and then I can like get into the game itself and like play it, and then I'll go to the next one.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Unless it's a game that I want to play like Super Mario World, then I'll like go through and play the whole damn thing, or Super Metroid. That's what I mean by testing. I have a little latitude on how long I can play and test the game, so to speak. So.
Trip Course said Super Mario World has some neat graphical treats, and I don't really think so. I feel like that was Nintendo not really knowing what they were doing yet with the hardware, and then they made Super Mario All Stars, and that's where they kind of got a hang of the hardware, because you can tell visually when you look at Super Mario All Stars compared to Mario World.
My favorite game's Kirby's Dream Land 3. All the stuff they did on that was pretty insane.
Oh yeah. Oh, what is that one filtering effect? It's SNES high
Well, they use
res.
the high res blending.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I
Yeah,
use
that's
on
the
my.
game.
That's the thing I use on my Raspberry Pi when I'm playing Sega Genesis games, which seems to give in, or it has that same effect. So the waterfalls end up, instead of being lines, they end up blending. It's really unusual.
Hmm.
But if you don't use that on, like, say, the Super Nintendo emulator, then playing Kirby's Dream Land 3, some of the stuff that goes in front of the screen, it comes, in the foreground, comes past you. It's just lines. It's just made up of lines.
Yeah, yeah. I have a mode that blends that properly.
Yeah, that mode might. I don't know if you can make it work with the Genesis, but you could probably do that. But it would affect the entirety of it.
Yeah, the way that one works is kind of interesting. It uses the high res mode, and but they only use like half of the pixels, so that's why it makes the lines. So I can detect that and do the blending on it pretty easily. There's
Oh,
only two games that use that: Kirby's Dream Land 3 and Jurassic Park. Those are the only two games that use that I know of.
that is. You would think something like that would have gotten used more, but I think Kirby's
Yeah,
Dream Land, Kirby's Dream Land 3 was like one of the last games that released for the system, so that's not
it
too
was.
surprising.
Let's see. Is it the very last game for it?
I think so, if I'm not mistaken.
Last release SNES game. The last officially released game for the system. No, I don't believe that. Star Fox 2, that was not the last officially released game.
Nope, because it didn't get released until years later on their little emulation box that Nintendo.
Yeah, so that's why they're claiming that was the last released game. I don't know.
No,
No.
nope, because it wasn't released on a cartridge for the actual hardware, so it doesn't count. Pretty sure it was Kirby's Dream Land 3.
Yeah, I think it was also. Well, this Wikipedia page is pretty useless.
Yeah, because I remember when it came out, it was like the last game that I seen on the shelf at Blockbuster at the time. It was the last game that came out on Super Nintendo at Blockbuster. It was like after that they weren't getting anything else. The N64 was going to be coming out.
Yeah, it was. Kirby's Dream Land 3 was the last release game, November of '97
Yep,
for
that's
the
what I thought.
U.S.
For the
For the
U.S.
U.S. The last
Ah.
release game was '98 in Japan, but they had a downloadable game that was taken down in 2000.
Huh. Well, what was the last game that came out for the for in like the UK, in Europe?
I don't know. Let's see.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same game.
Mm-mm-mm. There's not really a lot of games released for it.
For the Super Nintendo in the UK?
In Europe, yeah. Not as many as the US. Oh, I guess there are quite a few. It looks like Dragon Ball Z in '99 was the last title.
Yeah, I remember reading about that in a magazine, and it didn't come out here. And I don't think I actually no, I think Dragon Ball Z was kind of popular at the time. That was like the mid '90s, I think, or late '90s. And yeah, because I
That was the
remember.
last game. That was the last European release, and it was only the only release in '99.
Wow.
They released 5 games in '98, and then 14 in '97, and 42 in '96.
How much you want to bet that Japan still got more games after those? After what was our last games? How much you want to bet?
Oh, they did, yeah.
Yeah, it's Japan.
They got a lot more games than we did anyway.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's where a lot of games were being developed back then for those consoles. A lot of them were developed in Japan.
721 North American releases, 1,447 Japanese releases.
Yep. There were RPGs we didn't even get over here. Like, because a lot of them constantly get translated by translation sites. Constantly. Like, games I didn't even know existed. And it's like, there was a horror RPG not long ago that was translated. I was like, I didn't know this existed. Where was this when I was younger? This is cool.
I kind of like that Arrow the Acrobat too. It was okay game. Kind of shovelware, but it still wasn't too bad. I had to play it a lot during development, so I had lots of bugs with it, so I kind of like it.
I like the music. The music is kind of catchy.
Yeah, the music was okay.
Part 1 and 2 had pretty catchy music. The music was actually developed by the same folks who developed the music for NBA Jam.
Oh yeah.
Same composer.
Oh wait, was that guy? Is that the guy that that bought the Intellivision carcass and is pushing that Amico?
No. No, I
Because
don't think so.
He did a lot of that Tommy Tallarico or whatever.
Tommy Tal-
He did a lot of music for those games.
I don't think he did those games, so I don't think he made the music for. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure if I maybe if I did a search, see who was the composer on NBA Jam. In fact, I kind of want to look.
Final list of his stuff. He did soundtracks for like dozens and dozens of games, including a lot of those sports titles.
1993 is when NBA Jam came out. So let's see who the composer was. Nope, the composer for NBA Jam and Arrow, I think it's the same guy. Arrow the Acrobat was John Hay.
Oh, okay.
John Hay was the composer. He did NBA Jam, and I believe he also did Arrow the Acrobat. Let's see, is it AERO?
Yeah.
Because I'm curious. I'm pretty sure it was John Hay. No, it wasn't. Wow. It was not. It was Rick Fox. But he used a lot of the same samples, and that's why I assumed that. Like, there was some instrument samples.
Yeah, that was pretty common on Super Nintendo, actually.
The sound samples being reused?
Yeah, because, Nintendo had like a music construction kit, and they had a lot of those samples in there.
I have to kind of wonder. There were a lot of games that sounded like they used the exact same instrument samples that weren't even the same, made by the same company. Like I remember hearing a trumpet and whatnot. Like I put like a few Square games that I played, Squaresoft games. There's a trumpet sound that sounds exactly the same on a few RPGs I played that weren't by them. So I have to wonder if people were reusing stuff made by other companies at the time.
No, it was Nintendo. They had a music like construction kit, and it had all those samples in it. So people were converting like MIDI into Super Nintendo, and they would just use those samples.
Well, okay, that's odd because, as I recall, a lot of those developers came up with their own samples. Like some of them did, but I'm just saying that it sounds sometimes. A few games sound like people snatched it up from another developer and reused it. That's just
there was also sample packs that I can't remember who it was. Was it Korg? I think it was. They sold like sample packs too, so a lot of people were using those also.
Oh, okay. See, so I have to wonder. I was just going to say I have to wonder if I would get into any trouble if I made new music using old samples from Super Nintendo games.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too, because there's already a guy that does that, and I'm trying to remember his name, William Cage. He makes a lot of fantastic music, new scores using samples from old Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, I would think that wouldn't be an issue.
I've heard that
I did upload some Super Nintendo music on my SPC player, and YouTube's content thing flagged it falsely, saying it was something it totally was not.
I get that a lot too. There was actually some music that I made and it was remixes of some older music that I made from Knuckles Chaotix and a few other games. And for some reason, the Content ID said that I made music that belonged to a company that wasn't even Sega. Keep in mind, these songs that I made were from Sega games that I just kind of remastered with different instruments, and the Content ID claim still said that they were stolen, they belonged to somebody else.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to me, and it was something totally different that I never even heard of. I'm like, no, that's it was like some pop thing, and I'm like, no, this isn't even anything related. I'd like listen to it, and I was like, well, how did this match? Well, it's obviously a false match.
I had to literally go to Twitter and talk to the YouTube team on Twitter to get them to fix this crap. I even had to supply them with the music and say, this is what's playing in the background, for them to fix that. For them to fix that, because that's how broken of a system that they're using, their ID claim crap.
Well, once you get more and more content into it, it's possible there's going to be more and more false positives too.
Yeah. Or it'll say something's okay that's not really okay. Like it actually is something that's yeah. That's crazy.
Someone was doing testing on it. If you speed up or slow down by, was it 20%, the Content ID won't flag it.
Oh.
But I mean, it's not like it really does you a whole lot of good. But I just thought that was interesting. Someone did like testing out where they would speed up and slow down a song, and then upload a whole bunch of videos at different like amounts of speeding up and slowing down to see where the Content ID would still find it and then when it wouldn't. I just thought that was an interesting experiment.
Trick said, how to defeat the Google bot.
Yep.
But then it ruins what you're looking at and trying to enjoy and whatnot. So it's like, what's the point? And I imagine one day, I don't know when, but one day people will probably just use the. I mean, they already do, but like everything you watch will be online. It's getting to that point. Like people won't even use cable anymore. I get the feeling that it'll be at that point. I mean, you're still technically for some people using cable, but I meant like because like YouTube right now, you can watch live television on it. So, well, live. Yeah. I use the term live loosely.
I don't watch TV or cable TV. It's useless. I can't stand the commercials.
Yeah,
too many ads.
It breaks things up. I mean that's a complaint that I hear about YouTube a lot is the advertisements that just pop up in the middle of a video, and some videos are
I've never seen one.
Well, you have ad blocker, so
yeah,
that's why. But like I watched a guy one day, he had at least 15 different advertisements pop up he had an advertisement every 10 minutes popping up. It was crazy, and it just broke.
Well, yeah.
It breaks it up though. It breaks the flow. I found myself rewinding the video just to go back and make sure I heard everything correctly because it kept getting interrupted.
Well, I've seen that too, where sometimes I see the little yellow ad markers. The ads don't play, but I can see where the markers are. And some videos they're like every couple minutes. It was like, geez, I'm glad I don't have to put up with that.
It's crazy. And I remember early days of YouTube. I don't think that had all this advertisement crap and everything. It was when Google took over.
It did, only it was things like that were arguably worse, like animated sound producing flash ads. I remember that.
I don't mind like banners as long as they're not too bad. I just get tired of all these video commercial pop-ups constantly, breaking up what I'm watching, breaking the flow, and so on and so forth.
I've been using ad blocking since 97, I think it is. 97 or 98 when I started using ad blocking.
Wow.
Back then, you had to have a proxy, like a web proxy, and then you would connect to the web proxy with your browser. It was pretty easy to do, and then this proxy would do all of the ad blocking.
Nowadays, it's some kind of software, and of course, like you said, you had to use something to prevent the websites from a script.
But that was back when nobody was really hardly ad blocking, so there was no such thing as an ad blocker. Those are fairly new, just the last couple years.
Yeah, it's like Trip Course said. It's okay at the start of a video, otherwise it's just like TV.
Yeah. Well, they want to make YouTube basically like TV.
They do. I don't mind because I'm trying to get to where I'm actually making a living doing this, which is hard because I don't come on here enough and do enough. But part of that is my limited, terrible internet. So there's not a whole lot I can do. When you live in the boonies. I've got something called... I was going to say, I have something called Exceed Satellite, and it's better than nothing. That's the best I can say about it. It's better than nothing.
It's better than dial-up.
There's no dial-up where I live. I'm too far away from anything for dial-up.
You can't get a landline?
Nope.
They don't actually run phone lines out there?
There's phone lines, but landlines don't work.
Well, no, a landline is a phone line. Not
Oh, okay. I must have been thinking of something else then.
You're probably thinking DSL.
Probably. I know that
DSL probably.
Too far for DSL and dial-up. The last time I had...
My friend out in the boonies, he had dial-up until 2011.
What does he got now?
One megabit DSL. That's all he can get.
Oh wow. That's
Oh,
insane.
Classic Game Room went exclusively to Amazon Prime now. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Well, wait, completely exclusively, like not even on YouTube anymore?
That's what he says in the chat thinger.
Let's go to YouTube. That would suck. Like if I can't even watch it on YouTube anymore. Classic.
Oh, well, they're way ahead of me. I'd never watched it on YouTube anyway. I do like the song they used, Flock of Cowboys. That's a good song that they used.
I'm on the channel that's supposed to be... It's supposed to be Classic Game Room.
It looks like it's just a bunch of selling shirts and crap.
No, you gotta keep going. It's way down. No, his videos are still there, the ones he's done before. I'm thinking it's just new videos that he's doing.
No, it's probably just new videos. Yeah, he's not going to take down the old ones.
Oh, okay. Well, I like going back and watching the old ones sometimes. Sometimes they're just fun. They're fun to... Oh, that's a good shoot 'em up. Well, I think it's good. Super LS. That's a good one. It's a vertical shooter.
I think he changed his theme song on his videos. His theme song for a long time was Flock of Cowboys. That was the name of it.
That song. That's the best I can do with mimicking it. It was kind of synth sounding.
Kind of. But yeah, it's called... The one he used it for a really long time. It's called. It's like a stock music thing, but it's called Flock of Cowboys. I remember seeing it on another video. I was like, "Hey, I know where that's from."
Was that it?
Let me see. Let me unmute. No, no, it's before that.
Oh, it must have been a long time ago because that's the one I'm used to hearing.
I thought he had licensed Flock of Cowboys because it was only like $40, and you could use it as many times as you want on anything. It was royalty-free music once you paid your $40.
Flock of Cowboys. I'm really curious what it sounds like, so I
Yeah,
can check.
type it in. Yeah, yeah,
Flock of Cowboys classic game room theme.
yep.
Oh, that
That's
one.
it.
I like how 80s it sounds.
Yeah, it's a pretty good song. I like how you can hear the whole song instead of just the part they use.
I'm half tempted to use it myself. I don't know if I can.
The other place I saw this video used was on this product called the Rodinator. It was a thing that would pump oxygen and propane into the burrows of like gophers, and then you would blow them up.
That's a really cool theme. I'm tempted to I don't know if I'd have to pay royalties or not, but if I could use it royalty free, I'd probably use it. I like it, especially
I think it's $40 or something.
Oh, okay, all right.
Then you can use it as many times as you want. It's one of those type of things.
I
They
think
call it production stock music.
I need to find some good music for my channel. That's one of the reasons I haven't really been like doing much else, like especially just doing live streams lately, is just because I don't have a whole lot of resources.
I need to make more videos. I just don't have time to do it. I got all sorts of things I want to make videos of, and I just haven't had the time to do it.
Oh, yeah, I know that feeling. Well, I have time. I just, like I said earlier, I've got like depression, I've got anxiety and stuff, and so on the days where I'm really, really bad, I don't want to come on here, and it's been happening more frequently lately. Hopefully, now that the elections are over and I'm not worried about my disability getting snatched from me from the government, I can actually relax more and maybe do more on here. But for a long time, I've been panicking and freaking out because the Republican Party. I hate talking more politics, but the Republican Party in the House and whatnot was led by a guy named Mitch McConnell, and he said that if they had held on to the House and Senate, like both, that they were going to do away with Social Security because it's a quote unquote Ponzi scheme. And he kept calling them entitlements and stuff like that. So I was worried, but the Democrats have taken back the House, so I'm not so worried about. And it's not just me. I was worried for my aunts and uncles and whatnot. I've got family who rely on it. They're too old to do anything anymore. That rely on Social Security. So it was yeah. So I'll probably be less stressed. So I'll probably do more videos and stuff like I am right now. I'm in a pretty good mood, so that's why I started live streaming tonight.
I just kind of ignore all of the politics stuff. It just kind of is annoying to me. If you read about the stuff and you're like, oh yeah, that sucks, but there's not a lot you can do about it, type of thing.
Well, there is things that can be done, but it's something that everybody has to get on and do together.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, you can't really do a whole lot yourself other than vote. So it just, the way I look at it is like, I don't need this stress in my life, so to speak. So I'm just sort of, I try to ignore it sort of and kind of keep up with it. But, I just kind of try to take a back seat and not let it get to me.
I'm dadgummit, dog, quit dog. I don't know why I'm super into politics. I just am. But it is also frustrating that can't do much about a lot of things. But Yeah. I don't talk about it too much because I know a lot of people don't care for that. But every once in a blue moon, I'll pop up and say something about politics. But otherwise, it's mostly games. I honestly am kind of hoping that that whole thing that Tommy Teller, that the Coleco, I mean not Coleco, but God damn it,
In
the
television.
television Amico. I'm kind of hoping it works. I'm kind of hoping it works out. Kinda.
I don't know. I think he's just huffing some pretty good gas personally,
Well,
smoking some bud.
well, I trust and I believe him more than a certain someone.
What, Mike Kennedy?
Yep. That'd be the one.
Well, I got mixed up in that a little bit. Not
Oh,
really
yeah.
a whole lot. I was going to be their core supplier, and the core store got shut down.
Oh boy. Yeah, I remember the whole fiasco and the whole fake Super Nintendo. It was just it was a Super Nintendo Junior stuffed inside their
Yeah.
little shell. I was like,
But
what?
no, this is before that. This is when it was the retro VGS.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember the.
They actually had a lot more material, so to speak. The Coleco Chameleon was later, and then that's when they stuck the Super Nintendo in the Jaguar shell.
Mm. But I was the first
But
one that
yeah.
saw the footage of that at the at that one show, and I said, "That's a Super Nintendo."
Hmm.
I could tell right away that's a Super Nintendo, especially looking at the back and the cords and all that. You can't pull a fast one like that on people, and everybody else picked up on it, and I was like, "Wow!" And
Well,
his
before it was the retro VGS, they were gonna, make their own, board, and it was gonna have an FPGA on it, and this ARM CPU, and all this. And that was before, and they actually put it on Indiegogo, and it didn't get funded.
well, that's because they didn't have a prototype and everything. People wanted to see something. You can't just.
Oh, I know, yeah. Well, I talked to him on Skype a couple times before that, and I was trying to tell him, well, you got to do this, that, and the other, to make this work, and their lead engineer didn't want to listen to me. So
Anybody who's going to be a lead in anything has to be willing to listen to others. You can't
Well,
work on something like that and not take in consideration of things that people try to tell you.
well, at the time, I actually had made several FPGA video game systems, so I kind of think I may have known what I was talking about, maybe. And their lead engineer thought the video game system output interlaced video, like NES and stuff output interlaced video. I was like, no, it's progressive video.
Mm.
So he was clueless.
Well,
And anyway, they what?
I was going to say he was. I don't know what his initial idea was a cool idea, which was just something to play old games from old consoles on maybe a new form factor cartridge. That was a good idea. To me, it was, anyways. But then he started coming up with all this other crazy stuff and putting in like a crazy ass CPU in it, like trying to compete with Xbox and whatnot. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, you want to do all this stuff, and they were going to use my FPGA cores. And then when the Indiegogo started, they had cut the FPGA out of it, and they didn't even tell me. They're like, they made it like a stretch goal or something after they got their initial like $2 million or something. I was like, it just kind of annoyed me because they didn't even have the guts to tell me.
That's crazy. See, I would have preferred something that was just FPGA based. And I still think that's a cool idea. That way, like, say, a third-party company that released a game a long time ago can, like, republish it on a new form factor cartridge for people to buy up. Because if you try to get that same game that was printed years ago, it's expensive. And I just thought something like that is actually a cool idea. And and what's funny is we have companies right now that are actually doing that. Like Retrobit is like making new. They're not new form factor. They're like basically like the original cartridges and everything. But So we
Oh yeah,
actually
the
have
ones
that.
that say don't use it on your Super Nintendo because it can catch fire. Those ones.
I just well,
It's
it's a
it
good
actually
idea.
says it
It
says that.
I was gonna say it's a good idea to re-release new, old games like that, but not like that. Like the execution is terrible. I'll admit that.
Uh
How they're
huh.
going about it is terrible, but I like the idea. I like the idea of somebody coming out with a game console that plays all these old games, but on a new form factor cartridge that maybe even is cheaper. I don't think that's possible, but that companies can step in and say, "Hey, let's reprint these older games like this and everything." I thought that was a good idea, especially when you look at collector prices. Like it is insane how much a lot of games cost nowadays. Old
Well,
games.
thank God for flash carts then.
Thank God for flash carts. Thank God for my Raspberry Pi, which that's the other thing that gets me. I've used, I've been using this thing for a while, and people talk about input lag and stuff. I haven't noticed any input lag or any issues with the emulation on my little miniature single board computer. Like I don't get the downplaying that a lot of people do with that kind of, with that method for playing older games. And I especially find it
Well, I
funny.
think a lot of people just like to play their cartridges.
Yeah, well, the collectors and whatnot, they like their actual cartridges. But what I was gonna say, because emulation has gotten pretty damn good, so everybody downplaying it just the only thing that if you're very nostalgic, then cartridges are better because it's that feeling of walking up, taking the cartridge, sticking it in, and hitting the power switch. There's just something about that. So I'll admit
Yeah,
that, but
that's what
it's
people like to do apparently.
but for me, I'm not a collector. I don't have buku cash sitting around, so I just want to play these games. I just want to play them, and and it kind of annoys me when people downplay or talk smack about this method, which I know is a bunch of bullcrap. Maybe 8, 9 years ago, sure, it was pretty bad. The emulation wasn't that great, but it's gotten way better. So, and that's my method. I
Well,
mean,
it's fine for a lot of people. If it works for you, use it.
yeah. So, I don't get them for wanting to use the actual hardware, though. I admit, I don't. Actual hardware. I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit. Not really. I mean, if I could afford it, if I could afford it, and I do hope that people start making even more homebrews, though. I do hope for that. I would like to see more homebrews for other consoles come out. That's cool. Like Watermelon. Watermelon releases some cool homebrews.
Yeah, I had to buy friggin' that Pure Solar game. Unfortunately, that damn thing's expensive.
Which one did you get? The Sega CD one with the cartridge?
The cartridge.
Yeah. That it's really unusual because that game actually has a thing where you can use a CD at the same time, and
Oh yeah.
it'll play the audio from the Sega CD while you're playing that game off the cartridge.
Oh okay.
It's really
I'll have to
cool.
try that.
Yeah, I don't know if yours come with the CD. That's what I was going to say. You bought the Sega CD version,
No,
right? Or Sega version, I
I
meant to
don't
say.
know. Yeah, I got the Sega version. I don't know if it comes with the CD or not. Let's see. I didn't even look.
There's a version
I
that
had
comes. There's a version that comes with a CD that you can optionally use to play music off of instead of the Genesis sound, you know, sound chip, whatever synth. You can actually play recorded
Yeah,
music off of it while you're playing it. I don't know if that's going
that's
to
what
work.
Sonic CD does. That's what Sonic CD does.
No, 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 no. That's different. Sonic CD, everything's coming off the CD. This game uses the game from the cartridge, but it plays the music from the CD optionally if you want it to.
Yeah. Well, mine doesn't have the CD. I don't think it's the. It says complete though.
Well, it probably does then. If it's the complete version, look for a CD in the box. That way you can test out that option, test out that feature. Especially if it's the Genesis version. Then you can hook up the Sega CD to your to the early work you're doing on the just to see if it works.
Oh yeah, I'll test it. No, I don't know. Yeah, it was $100 for the stupid thing. At least hopefully I can resell it when I'm done.
I'm pretty sure you can. Pretty sure you can, especially if it's not scratched up or messed up or scuffed up. People will want it.
That's the bad thing about this. You have to buy that stuff just to test it or borrow it. Actually, someone's gonna let me borrow a whole bunch of CD units and cartridges, so I don't have to buy them. I can just borrow them and then give them back.
Yeah, I think the Sega CD also had, and I could be wrong about this, it used the Sega Genesis cartridge port for extended memory for saving games on Sega CD games.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I kind of remember that. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. Yeah, there is a save cart.
Yeah, see, that's what I think happened back then. I mean, that was the expansion. Because when the Sega Saturn came out, there's a cartridge slot, but it doesn't play games. It's just expansion. It's just basically their storage.
Yeah, there's a CD backup RAM cart.
I don't know if that's it.
$60.
But, yeah.
That's it. Yeah, a CD backup RAM cart. You plug it into your Genesis, and then your Sega CD games will
saves.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 128K bytes.
I don't think a lot of you didn't really need a whole lot back then for those games.
No.
Yeah.
No, you need like 8 or 16K was pretty typical.
Yeah. Oh boy, I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta get to bed too. I gotta go to bed and then wake up and do my day job.
I just realized what time it was. Oh my goodness. Yep. There was a lot of interesting stuff back then. They didn't use it too much, but when the 32X came out, there were literally Sega 32X CD games that somehow harnessed the
both. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, wow, that's insane. It didn't get used much, but it was pretty crazy. But it's as the angry video game nerd said, it's like the thing was literally on life support. The damn thing was like, yep. Oh my goodness, yeah. All right.
I didn't do a lot of planning. Yeah, I gotta get to bed too.
Yeah, I gotta get off here and tend to this dog. He's wanting something that I don't know, and I think he's gotta go out. Yep, you too, Tripcore. We'll see you later. Alright, I am off this thing. Ending it.
Talk to you later.
Later.